Welcome in on a Friday, a fun Friday edition of the Bill Michaels Show. We're glad you are here. For those of you streaming, wherever it is you're at, I kept my word. We are outside today. We are in the Tiki Bar. Beverages will be made, or might have been made already, to be perfectly honest with you. It is a beautiful day. I gotta tell you, it's a beautiful day out here. It just is. I got up this morning and tore the studio apart, brought the studio outside, and cleaned up a little bit. But for the most part, it is just it's a fun Friday. There is nothing. Brewers win last night. Fantastic, right? Everybody else in the Central lost. There's 7 games up in the Cubs. Everybody else is pretty much in the wind behind the Brewers. Cincinnati is fallen to 16.5 games back as their season is now coming to an end very quickly. And you beat the Cardinals obviously again. Cubs fell last night. Pirates fell last night. Brewers are now off to Pittsburgh. Kind of sucks that they had to get away on such a late evening, and you lose an hour going to the Eastern time zone. So they probably didn't get into Pittsburgh last night until about 1 a.m. And then by the time you're in bed, and then you got to get up and you got to play today. So that's a little bit rough, but on a getaway day. But nevertheless, I mean, it's a good day. There's just this. I was kind of perusing headlines today. And we'll talk some about, obviously the NFL and go through some of the numbers that we've been trying to get to throughout the week. But today is just a day where I woke up and it first of all felt like a Saturday, like today was a vacation day or something. For whatever reason, it just did. It's just beautiful out. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this anyway. I said I was going to do it yesterday, so I kept my word. And so I even got yesterday, I had the retro Topps baseball card Bazooka baseball gum T-shirt arrived yesterday. I've been buying some retro stuff. So today, sitting here as we are, on the air, I didn't even go with sports in the background. Today, if you're watching, what's on in the background, that is classic MTV, by the way. Going back to the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s when they actually played music on MTV, I got nothing. There's going to be some margaritas made today. Maybe a little grilling out about the noontime hour, a couple of hot dogs or something, because that's all I want. I got a good cigar going, big Oliva. I brought that up this morning from downstairs, and life is good. It just doesn't get much better on this. I'm liking it big time. So hopefully you're going to enjoy your day today, wherever it is you were at. I know we may get a little I forgot about the construction noise. That was the one thing that I thought when I came out here this morning. I'm like, God, between the baby birds and the nest back there. And I thought about putting a camera on them, but I didn't have an extra camera. But there's 5 of them in the nest back there. Mom keeps flying in and out. She hates the fact that I'm outside today because she's kind of afraid to go feed the babies. But the babies are over there. You can hear them a little bit. And then you get a little bit of the backup beepers going on out in the front because the yard is completely tore up. And now the road is gone, and they're finishing that up hopefully in the next week or two. But this is it, man. When this is your job. And you can wake up and go, you know what? I'm going to go outside. I'm going to sit in the Tiki Bar. I'm going to make a beverage, smoke a cigar. You and I, Grant, everybody are going to talk. We're going to chat. We're going to tell some stories, have some fun, and then kind of break a few things down and then call it a day. And that's the beginning of your weekend. Life doesn't get much better than this. I mean, if God struck me dead right now and said, you know what, Bill, it's your time, man. You got to come up. We have an opening at our broadcast studios up here in heaven. Well, if that's indeed where I go, and he killed me right now, I'm good with that. I'm like, take me. I've done it all, man. So this is not a bad way to go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to chime in, you can. We always appreciate it when you do. You can text us 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. We are on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. We're on Twitter, on X, @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. Follow me, or follow Grant, I should say, @Wisco Grant. You can follow us on the app, which is Wisco Sports Zone. Wisco Sports Zone. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Email the program, thebillmichaels.com, or thebillmichaels.com is the website, I should say. Pardon me. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Did a video on Instagram earlier today, just kind of like the behind-the-scenes stuff, because I had my neighbors say, oh, you're going to do the show outside, I heard yesterday. I said, oh, thanks for listening, first of all. And yeah, what do you just do? Just put your headset outside? No, I said there's a lot that goes into this when we do live broadcasts. It's still like doing a live broadcast out somewhere. So I did the behind the scenes video just to say, okay, here's the cameras, here's the lights, here's everything we need, all the equipment, here's all the wiring, everything got to get done. It takes about an hour and a half to almost 2 hours to put it all together by the time it's all said and done. So I just said, here you go. So I did a video. So you can find that on Instagram and Facebook at under the Bill Michaels Show. Posted later a little bit on TikTok, so if you follow us there. We're on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well, and you can catch the television show and the TV show is on My 24 TV in Milwaukee. That is My 24 TV in Milwaukee. Tomorrow night, every Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. 8 o'clock Central Time. You can find the TV show there, and that's where you track us down. So plenty of ways to find us. As I had mentioned, the Brewers get the win last night. Boy, I tell you what, that slide by Churio, first of all, it made me nervous because he was so wide, so stretched out, but it was just a badass slide to give them the extra kind of breathing room run last night, which was just awesome. The fact that they get an 8-4 win. Henderson took the win, and then Palante took the loss last night. But that slide by Jackson Churio, and I think it was Bowers that was standing behind home plate, and he's waving to him like, you got to go wide. You got to go wide. Here comes the throw. And it was, they even talked about it. I believe it was it Tim Dillard on the broadcast last night, Grant? Or was it Vinny?
I think it was Vinny.
Whoever it was explained it perfectly. He said, going back to spring training, they would work on that, where a base hit, a guy scoring from second, the next batter would run out, and he would be looking like, where's the throw, and waving these guys. I mean, they work on this in spring training to say where you need to be waving to the guy. You got to go outside, you got to go inside, whatever, to where the throw is. And it was perfect. These are the little things that we talk about in regards to the Milwaukee Brewers that are just so detail oriented, and that's the way they win games. Oh, you're kind of festive today in the in the shirt.
Tie-dye Friday.
Yeah.
Friday. I this is my one remaining clean tie-dye shirt. After I wore my fancy tie-dye I wore to the Fish concert on Wednesday. So this is my more casual tie-dye. I think it was Dillard actually watching that. I listened to a lot of the game on the radio. But you're right about that slide. Like, that's just a heady, smart baseball play. And I think, we think of the Brewers as this base running team that buys runs and steals runs. I actually don't think they've done an awesome job of that over the last couple of weeks. So in that instance, to get somebody on, to get them over, to get them in, like, I need to see them, get a little bit better, do a little bit better job than they've done over the last couple of weeks. So that was an awesome sign. Great play. You're right.
So that was just one of those things. It was like, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter. But it's just another one of those little details you notice when you're watching a game and you're watching this team play, that they do some of these little things right, where you see other teams that don't. So anyway, I just thought it was rather interesting last night. It was very much a point during the broadcast. But the Brewers get themselves a win. Now they're off into Pittsburgh to take on the Pirates. And the Pirates, by the way, coming up a little bit later on this evening, the Brewers will be in PNC Park, which is a beautiful ballpark with a 5:40 first pitch. Sproat goes to the hill tonight against Ashcraft. I love the matchups. Drohan and Chandler. And then on Sunday, Paul Skeens is going to the hill for the Pirates. The Miz Mizorowski goes to the hill for the Crew. And
you got your
weekend.
You got your Peacock subscription ready for Sunday between the Miz and Skeens, by the way?
I do have Peacock.
Good. You're going to need it.
Yeah, I do have Peacock. But I think on Sunday I'll be listening to it because I'm going to be on a boat. Today is going to be beautiful. Today is 81 and sunny. Tomorrow is 84 and sunny. And tomorrow we've got did I shoot you guys the note? If you guys wanted to come, we just got a cabana at the pool. So we just said, hey, if anybody wants to come on out tomorrow. I think I was going to shoot you guys. If I didn't, pardon me. But maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Anyway, I'll find it during the break. But that being said, we're going to be at the pool tomorrow at the club, and it's they have a little thing that they do. They remind you have so much money to spend or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just get some food, get some beverages, sit at the cabana, out in the sun, next to the pool, hang out tomorrow. And then on Sunday, I am bound and determined I'm going to take the boat out. So that's my weekend. So just kind of, this would normally be my vacation. And since we didn't take the vacation this year, kind of like, okay, I'm itching to do something. So that's why I'm kind of like, this is going to be the beginning of the, we'll say, tropical weekend, like the vacation vibe weekend. So that's it. I like my Bazooka Joe shirt, man. I like that.
That's not too bad.
I got that. I got, I can't remember. I got, there's a thing called retro tees. There's the Dive Bar Shirt Club, and then there's retro tees. And I go to, I buy shirts from both of them. So I'll buy old bars that maybe don't exist anymore in certain towns, you know. But I also buy the retro stuff. Everywhere I go, I don't know why. Do you remember Orange Crush, the drink?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I got an Orange Crush shirt. It's a faded out old Orange Crush shirt, even though it's brand new. I get more compliments on that shirt everywhere I go. Like, I had a guy come up to me. I was at the Woodman's the other day, and he comes up and he goes, "Hey," and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to say something about the show or about the Packers or about the Brewers, and he comes up and he says, "I got to tell you, man, that right there, that wins shirt of the day. That wins. And then he high fives me in the toilet paper aisle, and on he goes.
I had some of my best interactions in the toilet paper aisle.
Yeah, well, it happens. I can see it. It happens, especially now with the explosive stuff going on. You read about that?
Yeah, our country is experiencing an explosive wave of, around the country.
It's explosive ass is basically the way to put it. It's some kind of a parasite that if you're, it's in broccoli, raspberries, blueberries, kale. Nobody should be eating kale. If you eat kale and you get a parasite, man, you kind of should get it anyway. I don't know. There's some kind of a lettuce as well. Anything that is leafy, anything that is, capable of hanging on, like vine tomatoes and stuff. But they put the whole list of what to look for out and how to thoroughly clean it. But it was funny because yesterday I was telling you, I just was in the mood for the Jimmy Buffett cheeseburger, lettuce, tomato, onion, the whole thing. And I came out, I bought a brand new head of lettuce, washed it up, brought it out, cut up the tomato right here on the grill, 2 Paul Roberts cheeseburgers, quarter-pound cheeseburgers. It's just perfect. Ate it last night, and then Christy comes home and goes, "You didn't eat any lettuce today, did you?" Boy, everybody's got explosive diarrhia from. Well, like, oh my God! If anybody's going to get it, it would be me. Apparently, the incubation period and stuff like that, because normally you would figure it would happen within a couple of hours or maybe 48 hours at the most. Apparently, it's a 2-week incubation period, so it can happen at any point in time. But anyway, that being said, I don't have it. I'm good. And I'm probably going to do a little grilling today. Just a couple of hot dogs.
That you know of. It could hit at any time.
It could hit at any time. I could blow out the back of the Tiki Bar at any moment. It could happen.
God, you don't work in the building.
Right? It could happen, So anyway, that's where we're at today. So today, outside, enjoying it. It is, breaks are perfect under here. A little bit of a breeze, and it's just awesome. So hopefully, wherever it is you are, where if you're working your ass off in the sun, or maybe you're just stuck in an office, hopefully at least we're bringing you some vibes today. Maybe can you hear the birds in the background?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay. Love it. Got the baby birds in the background. They're chirping for mom. Mom will fly over. She used to just kind of like zoom in. She stays far away from me now. She goes around the other side of the patio and then goes up to the roof, and then underneath she'll fly, drop off food, and then go back out. So making mom work a little bit today. So anyway, let's do this. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. We're gonna come back. Anything in particular we got today? We got Mike Renner coming on today, right?
Correct. Mike Renner at the bottom of the hour. We will do a big time Friday buy or sell.
Okay.
If you are interested, I thought maybe you could have some sort of a Tiki Bar Bill's Best today. Ebo and I were talking about that this morning, actually.
What's that?
A Bill's Best related to, he's a fan of the segment, related to something with the Tiki Bar or with the margarita maker. I don't know.
I will do
that for later.
You know what? That's a thought. I will do. Let me think about it.
Stu.
Let me think about it. I'll kind of ponder that a little bit, because I thought, there's the top 5 parking lot in honor of Jimmy Buffett no longer being with us, and it kind of feeling that vibe kind of day. I've been to probably 30 shows. So we could always do the top 5 things that I've seen in the parking lot. That would always work.
Might need to have space for some honorary mentions.
I'm just trying to think. Because there's some stuff. There's some stuff that's happened in the parking lots that I've seen that we can do that. We'll do top five. We'll do top five and get creative. All right, let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michael Show broadcasting outside today, just enjoying the outdoors. And I want to remind you, Conversations for a Cause with none other than a leader of your brew crew, Pat Murphy. It's going to be Thursday night, September 10th from 5 to 9, and Pat is going to be our guest. It's going to be an intimate evening. Have you got your tickets yet? Ticket sales are going fast. I know it says 60 total on the page, but I think we're down to like 11. There's not many left because sponsors get first dibs on tickets, so those don't actually get sold through the site. So we picked up a couple more sponsors. If you want to be a host table, we got one host table available. That comes with 10 tickets, VIP packages, and whole thing. That's it. But that being said, Conversations for a Cause with Pat Murphy, Thursday night, September 10th from 5 to 9. You get in the door, there's a cocktail hour. Go outside. We are giving away, if you choose, some really good cigars from our friends over there, Quick Spirits and Quick Trip. And they're just going to supply them just because Quick Trip's been a big-time sponsor, if not only myself, but the Brewers for such a long time. They're going to sponsor those. And then you've got some cocktails. You've got food stations that are going to be up. And then if you have the VIP package, there's going to be a little bit of time for a meet and greet with Pat backstage, picture time and all that kind of stuff. And then Pat and I will take the stage, about 20 minutes of me kind of going back and forth and just asking some inquisitive things. And then after that, we open it up to you. And anything you want to ask Pat, feel free. But it is an intimate evening and kind of an unabridged evening with none other than the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. Pat Murphy is going to join us. So please, if you want to get your tickets, go to bigunitfoundation.com. That's bigunitfoundation.com. If you want to get registered for the motorcycle ride, you can do so because the motorcycle ride will also get you, if you pre-register, you are in the drawing to win a pair of VIP tickets that are valued over $700. So get into all of that. Conversations for a Cause with Pat Murphy, Coca Run, all at bigunitfoundation.com. That is bigunitfoundation.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michael Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Hey, Chuck, I see you have a 4.8 review rating on Trustpilot. Nice.
Our staff is so proud of their over 8,000 stellar reviews on Trustpilot. One of the best reasons to do business with Dollar Loan Center is our amazing bank-like locations and real, live, friendly staff.
I know your Madison customers just love your staff.
And so do I. We're so different than the average payday, check cashing, or title loan joints. We lend more and give more time to pay back. Look, our locations are amazing. Great music on, and you immediately feel comfortable and welcome, like banks used to be. Another thing we do that banks used to do is actually lend money.
Dollar Loan Center loves Madison and lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by in Janesville, Beloit, Beaver Dam, and coming soon to Sun Prairie. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval. Occasionally apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's big. It's big. Every win's big. You know, you get ahead like this and you blow a game like this, and it's a game changer. So, you know, you have to stay the course and critique your team. You know, we have some ball fours that we swung at. We had 8 pull side ground balls that resulted in 7 outs. You know, we said coming into the game we didn't want to hit pull side ground balls. We did it 8 times. It was 7 of the outs. You know, 7 of our 27. So you want to use the outs efficiently if you can. But we did do a lot of great things. So proud of our club.
Oh, feeling a vibe on a fun Friday. Love it. I know at some point we might hear a little bit, but this early in the show, I'm taking back. It's like vacation. Like I brought you on vacation with me. If I could do the show from the boat, I would. Just can't. I don't have an electric cord unless it's sitting in the driveway.
That'd actually be pretty funny.
That would be pretty cool. 877-867-1670. If you want to track us down, please do so. I had just had Marjorie, who runs the Moreland Road Cousins Subs. They're watching. And said, I know you live close by. Well, you're the one we deliver to quite often. Do you want some subs today? Who is all there? It's just me, Marjorie. It's just me. Thank you for bringing some Cousins subs, though. We'll take them. I might watch them sit down later on tonight and watch the Brewers game. I don't think I'm going to do much tonight. To be honest with you, but thank you, Cousin Subs, local, and I love the fact that they've got us on over there on Moreland Road in the Waukesha Brookfield area. That is fantastic. 1972, Cousin Subs has been around, and you can join the sub club. You can get to know them. They're kind people. Go to cousinsubs.com. That is cousinsubs.com. That might be a good sit outside and watch the game tonight. Just enjoy your night tonight. Hey, you know what kind of cigar do you have today? I have got an Oliva cigar. Pulled it out of the stash, and it's one of the better ones. I just kind of felt like a good one today, you know? Sometimes I get people give me cigars. I'm like, okay, I'll throw it in there. And then I've got one side of the cigar humidor has just stuff in it, just random stuff. And then there's other sides that I've got some of the stuff that I actually buy. And I've got some Olivas. I've got some Perdomo with the champagne anniversaries. I do like a couple of Rocky Patels. And then there's a lot of Monte Cristos in there as well. So the Monte Cristo anniversaries, the light Maduro. So I got a couple of those.
So cigars are like wine, and then sometimes you get gifted it, and you're like,
yes.
oh, this is good. Yeah. This would be good to cook with. Not that you ever want to tell that to someone.
Right, exactly. Okay. Well, there's, it's funny because every now and then I get a cigar, someone will give it to you, and I'll say, I got this at such and such, whatever. And they're not a connoisseur. And I'll go look it up, and it'll be like a 94 rated cigar, and you look, and it's a 10th anniversary wrapper, and and it's kind of like, okay, is this Connecticut or Nicaraguan? And it's, so you start to look and, wow, this is a really good cigar. And then you try it. It's like, wow, somebody gave you a really, really good one. Put that on your list. So I do that. I do kind of pay attention to stuff like that. I had a gentleman, I think it was at the broadcast that we did at the Baroque Hills Golf Course. on Friday. A gentleman came in. I think he was from the funeral home, and he gave me a cigar. And he says, "Hey, we have these made." And you're kind of like, "Okay, is this good? Is it bad? Whatever." It was a really good cigar. I was genuinely surprised. It was one of those cigars that I put away and for another time, and next thing you know, I tried it, and it was a really good cigar. So I can't remember his name, and it's shame on me for not remembering. But yeah, he has these cigars made, and it was a really good cigar. So I appreciated that. But every now and then, you get a really, really good one. So anyway, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Jason, over in the cheap seats. Cheap plug, if I may, for those in Green Bay area without Peacock. Home Field Pub and Social, by the way. Got to say hi to our buddy Jason up there. Home Field Pub and Social over there in the Titletown area. If you're in Green Bay, they have Peacock. They're going to be carrying the games. So our buddy Jason, who's the manager over there, he's the guy that brought us in, and we cannot wait to be a part of Home Field Pub and Social. I don't want summer to fly by. I'm loving life right now. It doesn't get any better than this. But if you're going to go over and watch the game or looking for a place to watch the game on Sunday, make it a day. What I would do, I'd get a group together. So we want to watch the Brewers game, but go either take your clubs and go swing in the swing suites, or just go do some of the interactive stuff. You can kick field goals and throw touchdown passes and all that kind of stuff. Get a group together, go watch the game, get some food, get some beverages. You're good to go on a beautiful Sunday. Because it can be hot, too. Maybe you want to get out of the heat. Who knows? But Home Field Pub and so there you go, Jason. Jason's listening. Sponsors are listening today. That's fantastic. There's a plug for home right there. Let's put it up. Home Field Pub and Social Restaurant, Topgolf on Lombardi Avenue in Titletown. And Jason is the man. Walk through and ask for Jason. Which, by the way, Jason, we had some people that our IndyCar friends, Jim and Barb and everybody, that travel all over seeing the races. They were up in that direction. Apparently, you had a really good conversation with them, and they love you, man. You're a good dude. The official home of the Green and Gold postgame show after every Packers game. Home Field Pub and Social. We just knocked out two birds with one stone, so to speak. This from Mark. Mark says, do we still need a bat, an arm, both, or just bring up some of the young guys? I'm really befuddled by this team because just when they start to make you think that they're going to need a bat, they start to hit the hell out of the baseball, and then they look really good. I was excited last night after winning 4 out of 5 over the Cardinals. The Cardinals are an upstart young team. They're still not the Dodgers, of course, but they're an upstart young team that the Brewers completely took care of and eliminated basically their season. I'm excited for this team. This could be our year. I love the optimism. I still think if you got a chance to get me, anytime a general manager looks at his team and says, okay, look, these guys are all good. Can I get better anywhere? Can I get better anywhere? You do it. You try to get better. Now you got to weigh the cost versus how much better you're going to get and what the controllable factor is and what you're giving up. All that comes into play. But anytime you can try to get better, you get better. So my answer to your question is yes. Now, I have said all along, I really believe that kind of a bat has been needed. That bopper, that guy. But I'll tell you this, after looking at, excuse me, I don't have a cough switch out here. After looking at all of what is available, and by the way, Jordan Walker, I know people are talking about Jordan Walker. I don't think they would trade Jordan Walker within a division. Came up huge last night with a big bomb to bring them back in that ball game and bring them close. And then he had an opportunity later in the ball game with runners on, and they ended up sending him back down. So, even if they fall off a table and sell, that's like one of their budding young cornerstones. They're not going to trade him. Even if they suck, even if they lose 15 in a row, they're not going to trade him. You're right. And it's getting from Madison. That's a great point too. I mean, one of the things to think about is the Dodgers have enough money; they could get Skubal just so nobody else gets them. If they have a real threat, if it sounds like the Brewers are going to get Skubal, let's just say for S's and giggles, like that could happen. The Dodgers could say, "Hey, we'll take him. We'll give you whatever," and then they can pay the man. They can pay him whatever he wants. And that's one of the things about a salary cap that would make it. If the Dodgers did that, that would almost guarantee the solidification of other small market teams saying, done, salary cap, got to have it right now. Got to have it right now. Because this is the kind of stuff that you want to prevent. I don't think we'll do it, but that would be something that a money team like the Dodgers could possibly do. But I think anytime you get an opportunity to get better, you try to get better. You know, you'd be crazy not to. Unless, of course, the asking price is just too ridiculously high. All right, let's do this. We'll switch over. We'll talk a little football when we come back. How about that? Mike Renner is going to be joining us. Looking forward. We haven't talked to Mike in a while. Looking forward to talking to Mike. Hey, if you are in the La Crosse area, think about this because our friends at Team Appliance, they've got a heck of an opportunity for you. A heck of an opportunity for you. Think about this. It's not a franchise, by the way. It's not a large startup investment or any ongoing fees or anything like that. It's basically a package of online training and peer support. So your own business domain and website start you off, and it's the beginning tools and parts, making you your own business owner. And you can work right out of your home, out of your vehicle. You can work part-time until the business really kind of takes off. But if you need help getting your business, your service off the ground, Phil, he's happy to talk to you about it. If you got any questions, it's Team Appliance. It's a new concept, but they are into appliance repair because that is kind of a falling by the wayside industry, in reality. Plus, there's a lot of computer tech now involved in the appliance repair stuff because God knows everything that we have has a computer in it. So they're looking for good people that know what they're doing to basically give them some upstart businesses so we can get more appliance repair people out there because they're just completely overwhelmed. They're looking for, and it pays well. That's the other thing. Team Appliance, it's a new concept, but they've got it going on. TeamAppliance.net. That's TeamAppliance.net, or call Phil directly. 608-406-4256. 608-406-4256. You can work for yourself, and that way you're handling your own hours, your own schedule, all that kind of good stuff. 608-406-4256. Mike Renner next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The Packers are one of those teams where I go, I know they're going to be good, but like, it's how good? Is it going to be 10-7? We just get in the playoffs good? Or can they turn the corner and play more consistent football? And Jordan Love thing with the Packers. We felt like they were going that way last year, and then they lost that game in Denver, and everything changed.
Chris Sims talking about the Green Bay Packers and can they put the consistency together? That's the big question for this team. Can they do it? Can they overcome themselves at times, as we saw last year, especially in the second half of ball games? It wasn't for the fact that they weren't ready to go. It was just the fact that they weren't ready to go in the second half of ball games, and they snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory in a couple of different instances. Mike Renner, CBS Sports, joining us, the NFL and the draft analyst on the hotline. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Bill. Thanks for having me.
In this dead period, basically, everybody starts talking about all the different numbers and the comparisons and the rankings and everything, and then we argue over all of that stuff because we got nothing to talk about until the season gets here. But do you like what the Packers did via the draft? Do you like the fact that they kind of bolstered the offensive front, the defensive front a little bit?
I do, and I like the players. It was really a targeted draft, I'd say, because this is a very good football team. I think when they were healthy last year, this was arguably one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the NFL. They were right there with teams like the Seahawks and Rams in the NFC. It's just, obviously, when the injury struck, and that clip I heard, I was getting frustrated because it's like, yeah, it was the Broncos game, but the Broncos game was when they lost their 2 best players that weren't Jordan Love. They lost Zach Tom, they lost Micah Parsons. You're not going to be, no team's going to be able to survive losses like that. So this was a very, very good football team that just needed to address, nose tackle, quarterback. They got those positions in the draft. It's really going to come down to how those guys, how ready they are, and how ready to develop the rest of kind of their rookie contract guys, their first rounders that are still young. How ready those guys are to see big time, because LVN, Jordan Morgan, Matthew Golden, if those guys hit, if those guys flourish, all of a sudden this is a very different football team than even we saw last year.
So, okay, let me start with Jordan Love, because there was this discussion of how good he is and the numbers he puts up, and I get all of that. And when you look at his numbers in a clean pocket, he's an assassin. That's the term that's being used. When you look at him in a non-clean pocket, on the run, on a rush, he's not as good. but his numbers were great. His touchdown, interception, the whole thing. So you tell me what you need to see out of Jordan Love that makes him next level.
I think it is just that consistency under pressure. And now last year was difficult because the offensive line was so banged up, and you had so many different combinations that it's hard to put a number to a guy's mindset. You know, when he's like, when you're on your third string guard and backup tackle, it's like, okay, it's hard to put a number to how much that plays into how much that's going to affect the quarterback in his play. So last year, I don't want to say throw it out the window, but like he has to have more confidence that even when your offensive line's overmatched, that he's still going to be able to get the job done, because that's when it really snowballed for him last year. So I think that's it, because like you said, clean pockets when he knew, you know, when he faced poor pass rushes and he knew he was going to have time, he was confident downfield passer, you know, as much as anyone was in the NFL last season, you know, probably outside of Matt Stafford. So I'm very excited to see what the next step looks like for him, because I do think he has improved, you know, even from the year prior. Like you've seen improvement in ways of Jordan Love's game pretty much every single year. And I think that's going to only continue the more he plays.
I guess consistency is the word that keeps coming up, that they need to see more consistency out of Jordan Love. They need to see him not only have a great first half, but then don't fall off the table in the second half. And I completely agree. Because we've seen this where they have a great game, then the next game they all of a sudden can't move the football and they can't figure out how to get the offense going. I understand the injuries played a part of that last year. The offensive line was in flux a lot last year. That's the only thing I think that's maybe, I don't want to say lacking from his game, but needs to be elevated in his game. It's just a consistency with which he plays, right?
And I wonder if the Packers, and I completely agree with that, I wonder if the Packers this offseason, getting rid of Romeo Doubs, getting rid of Dante Unwich, getting rid of Doubs, letting him walk, I wonder if that was intentional in saying, we want to tighten up this receiving core, not have him, 6-7 guys that he has to develop a rapport with. Keep it with a tight three. Those guys play the majority of the snaps. We're not going to be subbing nearly as much as we were. And maybe that's what is going to get Jordan Love to take the next step in terms of his consistency, is having that rapport with a tighter depth chart at wide receiver, that he knows where those guys are going to be at any given play and is not having to learn how each one of 6 different guys runs this certain route. I think that might be what ends up helping Jordan Love take the next step, and what the Packers are hoping helps them do that.
What do you think of Matt LaFleur as a play caller?
I think he's an incredible game planner in terms of his ability to draw plays, and specifically draw plays for the defenses he's facing. I think he gets tight at times in big situations. I think that maybe is his biggest knock, but it's really, you're picking nits with a guy like that. It's just that, like, he probably isn't Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay level, right? He's probably not that level of play caller. He's just a tier below, and that's fine. It's why you're not getting rid of him, despite the consistent struggles we've seen in the playoffs. But I think he's a very, very good one nonetheless.
The division itself is really tightened up. I mean, I still think talent, pound for pound, I still think Detroit is probably maybe the best team in the division. The Packers could be close. I don't know what the ascension is going to look like continuously with Chicago. And certainly if Kyler Murray can give you an entire season over in Minneapolis, maybe that changes things for them. But you tell me what you see in this division.
It's interesting because it was, one of the best divisions ever last year, right? Every team finished above 500. I think that was only the second time that's ever happened. So it's one of the most competitive divisions of all time. But offseason, it seemed like across the board pretty much was a belt-tightening offseason. No one really went out and said, I'm going to make this move to take the next step. It really was just the Vikings who kind of fell backwards into getting Kyler Murray on that, vet min deal by happenstance. But even him, it's like, he hasn't been a franchise quarterback or like a guy that would really elevate a team to top of the NFC North in 5 years, probably since 2021. So there's really no one that made the next step, which means it's going to have to come from kind of what I alluded to off the top. It's going to have to come from your draft classes. How have you drafted the past 3 years, and how are those guys going to ascend? And so for the Packers, it's, the guys I mentioned. For the Bears, it's Caleb Williams, it's Roma Dunte, it's Luther Burden, it's Austin Booker on the defensive side of the ball. For the Lions, it's, the rookie right tackle you just drafted, Blake Millards, just getting that defense back healthy. And for the Vikings, it's, basically Kyler Murray in the offensive line getting back to speed. So it's really going to come down to how well have you drafted, and are those guys ready to take the next step? Because it is, like I said, still an incredibly competitive division. Trying to figure out who rises to the top of this is probably more difficult than any division in the NFL.
So I wanted to ask you about the offensive line, because they've had some change. Rasheed Walker out. You've got now Jordan Morgan in, and this is Jordan Morgan's big opportunity. Banks last year did not have a good season. He's trying to redeem himself. Obviously, Sean Ryan gets the contract, and he's kind of your center, but they picked up Jagger Burton, and he's turning heads like crazy, and everybody seems to feel that he's going to put pressure to start. Anthony Belton in his second season, and then obviously getting Zach Tom back. To me, the entire season hinges on this offensive line. If indeed they hit on everybody, it's going to be great. If they didn't, there's injury problems. I don't know if they have the depth to cover. Give me your thoughts there.
I agree. I think Jordan Morgan, I actually feel probably more confident than him than any of the three interior spots. The way he played towards the end of last season, and it wasn't left tackle, but it was right tackle, I think was the best ball of his career. I think he is a guy who's ready to step in right away, and I actually feel really good about their tackles. It really much more to me is the interior where, Aaron Banks, like you said, I don't know if there's a next step for him, because this kind of is always the guy he's been. I think it was just an overpay to begin with, who, a guy who in pass protection in San Francisco got protected a ton that they hoped would, flourish a little more in Green Bay, and just did not. So I don't know what you're getting out of him. It's going to come from, like you said, Belton and Jagger Burton are kind of the guys that are the most intriguing. Burton's played a ton of football, all at center at Kentucky. I'm very curious to see if he pushes for that center job. And then Belton, he was a left tackle in college who got flipped to right guard. You couldn't think of two more different positions along the offensive line. So what his next step looks like is going to go a long way to saying what this offensive line is going to be.
Then just the NFC in general, I wanted to talk about real quick before I let you go, and that is, obviously there's still the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams seem to be getting better, and since they traded for Myles Garrett, certainly there's a lot of talk about Aaron Darnold possibly coming out of retirement. We know that out of the East, I don't know what to make of the Cowboys. I don't know what to make of the Eagles. I don't know who's going to win that division, and then obviously there's the NFC North. Give me your thoughts on the NFC in general, kind of the hierarchy.
It's tough, because if I were to rank just the best rosters in the NFL right now, I think at least the top three are all in the NFC. And that would be the Eagles, the Rams, the Seahawks. Like those, it is a murderous row. And the AFC has the quarterbacks, but the NFC has more top to bottom talent in terms of how good these rosters are. So, there's going to be very good teams, kind of like last year, who don't even make the playoffs in the NFC, like the Lions were after all their injuries struck. So, unfortunately, I can't really make heads or tails of it. It's going to be difficult to get through the Rams, though. I mean, they made this offseason to be on the precipice, probably the second best team in the NFL last year, to add the best pass rush in the NFL to that mix, and to add a all-pro cornerback to that mix. It would be nothing short of transformative for a defense that was already very good. So I think it rolls through the Rams right now until, God forbid, injury strikes. That's really the only thing that could take them off the top spot right now for me, is injuries hitting that team. You got some old key players there in Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford, but if they stay healthy, that is the team to beat.
Real quick before I let you go, I wanted to ask you, I want to go back to the Bears. The Bears last year won a lot of games that come from behind fashion, and they won a lot of games because they just created a massive amount of turnovers. Caleb Williams certainly is clutch, but in the pocket he was not that great. Do you think that they because they get that schedule now, that's that first place schedule, do you think they take a pretty big sizable step back, or is this team who we believe for real?
I think they do, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. I just find it very difficult to believe they'll be able to keep those turnovers coming. It just goes historically, it's unlikely, and a lot of the guys who create those turnovers aren't even there anymore. Like, they replaced a lot of their secondary that did that. So their pass rush looks lackluster. They didn't add anything to it this offseason, and they were bottom 5 in pressure rate a year ago. So I don't see that necessarily changing. Offensively, though, I mean, it's Ben Johnson. They have incredible talent at receiver. Offensive line should be solid still like that. Offensively, they'll put points on the scoreboard. I tend to agree, though, that their record more likely than not takes a step back just because the schedule, because the defense will still be a problem And I do think Caleb Williams' accuracy issues, I find it hard to believe they'll get fixed enough for them to all of a sudden be, a world beater offensively, like, the 2011 Packers, where you don't need a defense, where you can just get by week in and week out and still win 15 games. I don't see that necessarily happening with Chicago.
Mike, great stuff as always, man. I appreciate it. And we'll talk again real soon, specifically as the camps get underway, okay?
For sure, Bill. For sure.
Thanks, bud. Talk to you soon. There you go. Mike Renner, CBS Sports draft analyst, also NFL analyst. And always great to get a kind of chance to pick his brain a little bit, especially this time of year when the optimism and or skepticism and all the conjecture regarding the NFL seems to be kind of running rampant. And we as NFL fans, we simply can't wait for them to put the pads on. We're anticipating camp. Like I said, I'm not in a hurry to get through summer by any stretch, but it's not far away. We're only about 3 weeks away from camp, which I can't believe. It's creeping up on us really, really, really quick. So we're excited for that. Hey, I want to remind you that we are coming to Bailey's Harbor, Wisconsin, up into Door County. We're excited. Speaking of camp and the end of the month, when camp is getting ready to get set, so are we. We're going to be out on the road. We're going to be doing kind of a tour, and we're going to go to Door County. We're going to be in Door County at the Door County Fire Company in Sturgeon Bay. That is going to be on Thursday, the 30th of this month. Door County Fire Company in Sturgeon Bay. And then we're going across over to Bailey's Harbor, and we're going to be there on Friday, the 31st. We're going to be at Lake Fire Winery. So if you're in the area, please come out. It's our first time ever coming to Door County. I want to know everything there is to know about Door County. I'm not going to be able to see it all in a matter of 3-4 days, but I want to know everything. I want to meet everybody. I want to see everybody. I want to sit out back and have a little wine, have a cigar, do the show, just have a great time at Lake Fire Winery. And then obviously some great food and some great company over there at Door County Fire Company in Sturgeon Bay. So we're really looking forward to our trip. For all the information, and just to find out information about Lake Fire Winery, go to lakefirewinery.com. That is lakefirewinery.com. And do not forget, Forgotten Fire Winery is in Peshtigo. Same great wines, same great owners, award-winning wines, plus stuff that they just want you to enjoy. You don't have to be a connoisseur. You don't have to be a snob. Just go enjoy it. So enjoy it with us. ForgottenFireWinery.com. That's in Peshtigo. LakeFireWinery.com. That's in Bailey's Harbor. And we will see you in Door County coming up at the end of the month.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella-certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes.
Down goes hunger. Down goes hunger. That's the call when you take your first bite at Home Field Pub and Social. With a chef-driven food roster that's stacked with flavor. From starting lineup appetizers to all-star plates and sandwiches to Hall of Fame desserts. It's all worthy of a highlight reel. Because this isn't your basic game day fare. This is crave-worthy food with enough flavor to make your taste buds do a touchdown dance. And if you're ready to play, step into the Topgolf Swing Suite and take your shot at glory. Swing, sip, up and snack your way through every clutch moment. So the next time someone asks where you were when Hunger lost the title match, you say Home Field Pub and Social, where it's game day every day. In the heart of Titletown, right next to Lambeau Field.
Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's the type of vibe today. Just kind of hanging, chilling, Tiki Bar. I think in the next hour, we're going to fire up the margarita maker. It's right over my shoulder. I don't know if you can see it or not. The Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville maker right here. Over on this side, Grant, is the Jimmy Buffett tequila. And then the strawberry margarita mix. So it may or may not be number 2 in the mug today. I'm going through the cigar pretty quick, too. We might be a 2-cigar show kind of day today.
Well, you got to stay hydrated. You're outside.
Yeah, I know.
So you're sweating. So
I'm
you got to
telling
make sure
you, this doesn't even feel like work today. If I could just do this on a dock somewhere and then literally like, okay, time for us to go. Have a go and see you. And then jump in the boat and go off. That would be just like the way to go. Be leading the Buffett lifestyle. So 1 hour down. We got 3 more to go. Stay tuned. Broadcasting live in the Tiki Bar. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Zone Update.
Well, the Brewers would close out their series with a win in St. Louis as Jake Powers hit a 3-run shot. Bryce Terang added his 13th homer of the season, and Milwaukee would use a 6-run third inning to beat the Cardinals 8-4, claiming 4 of 5 in their series. Here's what the manager, Pat Murphy, on their games against their divisional opponent, the Cardinals.
It's big. It's big. Every win's big. You get ahead like this and you blow a game like this, it's a game changer. So you have to stay the course and critique your team. We have some ball from work that we swung at. We had 8 close-side ground balls, which resulted in 7 outs. Coming in the game, we want to hit close-side ground balls. We did it 8 times, and it was 7 of the outs, 7 of our 27. So you want to use the outs efficiently if you can. But we did do a great things, so proud of our club.
Milwaukee won 4 games in a series against the Cardinals for the second time in franchise history, the first since 2008. They now sit 59-34 on the year, 1 series to go before the All-Star break, and the Crew will start out in Pittsburgh tonight. First pitch coming at 5:40.
40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareer.org or just search online for ABC Wisconsin.
Wisconsin unveiled their alternate uniforms yesterday for their season opener against Notre Dame at Lambeau Field. They're all including the helmets with chrome accents for the numbers, stripes, and a motion W on the helmet. Wisconsin opens their season September 6th. And finally, the Milwaukee Bucks are back in Summer League action today in Las Vegas. They'll take on the Miami Heat. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome in. It is a fun Friday, my friends. It is a fun Friday, the Bill Michaels Show. If you're watching on the stream, you're going, what is that? I'll tell you that in a minute. But I told you yesterday we were going to take it outside, and here we are. We're under the Tiki Hut, and the bar is open. The grill is going to be coming up a little bit later in the program. And all I want today, and there's nobody here, so it's just me. So all I want today is just a couple of hot dogs. I'm going to make some hot dogs today. Margarita, sports talk, you and me hanging out. What a day. What a banner day. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. That's the phone number. You want to get a hold of us. Text us, 608-321-1670. Go to YouTube. Go to youtube.com. Find us there. You can watch the show. You can watch all the different scenes we have here at the Tiki Bar. At 608-321, or excuse me, at YouTube. What the hell am I doing? I've already had a margarita. YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Find us on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. Find Grant at Wisco Grant. The app, you can take us anywhere and everywhere. Watch the show, listen to the show. Go to Wisco Sports Zone. Wisco Sports Zone. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website simply thebillmichaels.com. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I posted a video kind of behind the scenes from earlier today. There's a lot of stuff over there now, too, this week. I've been posting almost every day. But you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, The Bill Michaels Show. Same thing on TikTok. You can find us on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. And you can watch the show tomorrow night in Milwaukee on My 24 TV, 8 o'clock Central Time on My 24 TV. Again, My 24 TV. There you go. So I did send the invite out, Graham, for you guys, for the staff, if you will.
Yeah. Ebo is just in here. He says he's going to tell Jen that they should go. Are you aware with the current drama that's going on with Ebo? Did you see the email?
I saw the email about the mug, the coffee mug, and the threat to microwave fish if nobody returned his coffee mug.
God, he's walking laps around the building right now like that.
I bet.
I don't know.
What's going to be funny is he probably left it like when he sat down on the explosive diarrhea, thing that he, was talking about earlier today. He probably left it in the bathroom. It's probably sitting on the shelf in the bathroom or something.
Does he have?
He was talking about it. I saw it part of his text stream on Mixer. I saw somebody was posting about it, so I didn't listen to him talking about it because I was setting up the show here. But I thought, well, maybe he's talking about the explosive diarrhea that's going on throughout the Midwest.
I think he's coming. He just through the window asked if we were talking about him, and I said yes. He doesn't look happy. Are you going to join us? Okay, here I'll turn his.
I don't blame him.
Bill, were you here yesterday?
I was not there yesterday.
Where were you yesterday?
I was in the house hanging out for the most part.
From the hours of 2 p.m. No, I'll give you the hours. 3 p.m. to 5 a.m. Where were you?
Somebody. I can't get out of my house because I don't have a road. So I was home all day. I have like a barely a bridge
alibi if I've ever heard.
Very convenient.
I can't get out of the house even if I wanted to.
Did you get the company-wide email, Bill?
I did, and I find it extremely funny. It's the threat of microwaving fish in the building if somebody does not return your mug. That is right there then. And the fact that there's a picture of it, I should tell somebody like, hey, I grabbed this mug by accident. I'll return it. But I wanted to know because I saw in your text thread that you were, at least somebody was talking about the parasite that's going on throughout the Midwest with the explosive diarrhea. And I thought, well, I wonder if he was sick or something that I didn't hear about. Did you leave it sitting on the shelf in the bathroom?
Bill, I've looked everywhere 3 times. I've looked places that I've never even been in this building. I am on a warpath, and I do not care about collateral damage for my fellow. Here's what I think. No, here's what I think, Bill. I think what has happened and what has transpired here is someone got a little funny idea that, Ebo microwave fish a couple of weeks ago. I'm still perturbed over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal his coffee mug. Well, guess what? I got a nuke with me, and it's another 2 giant pieces of whitefish, some cod ready to go.
Got up.
I think they tried. I think it was retaliation. And guess what? If they hit back, I hit back harder. Eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. I'm fine with that.
Yep. They don't have another mug to steal. I fear that you have a lot of fish.
I protein max. I will go to Costco and stock up for the next year of whitefish.
I will even chip in a little bit for a new mug if you don't get it back.
I will bring in Lindbergher cheese, microwave it. I'll bring in curry. I'll bring in fish. I will bring in any food. I will burn popcorn. Okay?
Oh God, that's awesome. That's awesome.
The more this goes on, the more angry I become.
I don't blame you.
And I'm never angry.
You're always a peace, love, and happiness guy. Yeah.
Not today.
You should be hanging out here at the Tiki Bar, man. I'm making margaritas a little bit later on. We're going to do a little grilling out during the show.
I will say this, Bill. I've noticed this. Maybe it's alcoholism or I don't know. But I have found that if you're having a bad day, drinking tequila makes you feel a lot better.
Okay. Tequila is here. Tequila and I don't like straight shots do not mix well. There's an anger that comes with tequila.
Really?
And dark liquors, yeah.
There's a happiness that comes with me in tequila.
Well, it goes from that. You start out on that ledge and you're like, man, I feel really good. This is great. There's a love moment there. And then the next one is like, I could bite the fenders off of your car if you don't get the hell out of my way on my way to the bathroom.
You do bring up a good point, though, Bill, because maybe I will come up there to the Tiki Bar. The reason why is I've literally walked to every single office today, stared them right in the eyes and accused them and grilled them and accused them some more. And no one gave up the information. I have not done that to you in person.
No.
So, and listen, I got to do it to everybody.
This is the thing about working here.
I'm gonna stare you right in the eyes, and I'm gonna very heavily accuse you of things that probably didn't transpire.
Right.
And then after, I assume you didn't do it. But once you deny it, then we can share a drink together.
Even if I didn't, I'll cave. I'll just admit to it, just so you can leave me alone. I'll be like one of those guys in the police precinct in Law and Order that goes, I just admitted to it because I just want to get the hell out of there. So
a Netflix documentary over it now.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I hope you find it. If you don't find it, my suggestion is to join us tomorrow over at the pool, hang out. And then I'll get you a mug while you're here, and then when you go back to Madison, you'll have a mug to take with you.
It's not about it's about the principles of it, Bill.
I know.
My sister-in-law made this mug for me. She's got, she's got her. She's got a kiln. There's a caricature of me with a microphone and my cat is on and an alien blowing out a candle. It's very.
I got it. Okay, so it's a special mug. It's not just any mug. Okay.
It's the one-on-one, just like me.
It's never about the mug, Bill.
It's about the principles of it all.
It's about sending a message.
There's a specialness to the mug.
Asserting dominance.
Yeah, okay. By the way, and I meant to mention in the text message that if you guys want to crash here at the house, you can. So
you have a very palatial. It's very palatial at the Bill Michaels Manor.
We can all just jump in the RV if we want to.
How many coffee mugs you got?
I got a lot.
Man truly measures.
I will open the cupboard door and say, you know what? You go pick as many as you want because I don't use too many coffee mugs, and you're all about it, man. You grab as many as you want. I'll give you whatever mug I have in there.
Bill, they say revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, in this case, revenge is a dish best served heated up. Some white cod in the work break.
You don't even serve it cold. You just it goes through the nasal passages.
I'm going to heat it up and walk around with it.
You need one of those little personal fans. You just walk around with the fan behind the microwave cod and just blow it into everybody's office.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
That's what I'm going to do.
If that doesn't work, then some of that BS repellent that you get at the Spencer's Gifts, blow that in there.
Just because I know everyone listens.
Yes.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave the studio. I'm going to go and do another thing in the production studio. I'm going to be in there for about half an hour.
Okay.
So people that are listening, whoever took it, you don't even have to say anything. Just put it back on my desk.
Yeah.
When I come back, then I won't nuke you with fish. Okay.
Yeah.
If not, D-Day's coming.
You don't even need to wash it. Just bring it back.
No, I season. Right. I don't ever wash them. It's seasoned.
Right.
It's dirty.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
You drink mushroom. I'm not touching that thing.
That is my mushroom coffee apparatus.
All right. So
Bill?
we got plans. So if you can make it this weekend, let me know. The house, I've got the extra bedrooms wide open. So
I'll say this. I said this to everyone else today. This is your last opportunity to come clean if you stole it.
Gotcha.
No, okay. I'm telling you. This is your Bill Michaels' last opportunity to come clean if you stole it.
Well, the key word there being if.
Did you do it?
If I stole it, I didn't steal it.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, you're not at the top of the list, but you're on the list.
I've done the same line of questioning to everybody. So, Bill, it's being fair, very inclusive.
I'm looking forward to the wrath. I really am. But if I don't get it personally, I'm sure I'll get it via email. So I'm looking forward to that too.
More will be revealed.
You the man. See if I-
And there he goes. And there he goes.
Now I understand why the wrath is so, out there. Because I didn't realize his sister-in-law made it for him. She owns a kiln, for God's sakes.
I've never watched him walk around this building because we have windows on all sides of the studio, so you can see. I've never seen him walk around the way that he's walking around. It's like the building owes him money, and he's walking around in a different. He's got a different skip in his step, a different attitude. Completely.
That's there's a stink in his think. That's what's happening. He's mulling it over right now. So hopefully he gets the mug back. My fear is that somebody took it last night and took it and put it somewhere, and they're not in the building today. So it doesn't come back until Monday at the earliest. And then he's going to have a whole weekend to wrath and stew and plot revenge. He may go to a river and noodle a carp. And you know what noodling is, right?
Oh, yeah. Stick your hand down
in one of those catfishes. Yeah, he'll probably noodle something and bring it in the microwave, still alive, and just and then fire up the whole joint. So I can see that happening. This is when I'm glad that I work where I work. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that doesn't
preclude me from the list, obviously, but
correct, as we just heard.
It makes me a long shot at best to be the perpetrator. So I'm feeling good about myself and about my innocence at this point. You put me in a court of law, all I got to do is take a picture of my front yard and go, yeah, I wasn't there. Because I only got 3/4 of a front yard anymore, and the road is gone. So I didn't do much yesterday. They allowed us down the street after 5 o'clock and allowed us out this morning at 7. So Kristen left early, and after that, I'm stuck. I don't have a way to get out of here. I wanted to take the RV and go clean it up and all that kind of stuff at State Fair Park. I can't even do that. Can't get the damn thing out of the driveway if I wanted to. So anyway, the fun and frivolity of this program completely starts off the second hour. If those of you who are tuning in for the first time in La Crosse and Eau Claire and whatever stations only carry 3 hours of the show and not the first hour, welcome to the program. It's a wild and woolly day. We are under the Tiki Hut here on a Friday. Brewers get a win last night. Everybody else in the Central lost last night again, and which was absolutely positively fantastic in that particular sense. The Brewers back at it tonight, taking on the taking on the Pirates. Sproat goes to the hill tonight against Ashcraft. And right now, the standings in the National League Central are awesome because the Brewers are now 7 games up on the Cubs. 7 games up on the Cubs. The Cardinals now 10.5 back. Their season is pretty much over. Pittsburgh 12.5. Same thing with them. Cincinnati lost again, and they are now 16.5 games back, and their season is ultimately now over and ended before the All-Star break even really gets here. So, and the Brewers, as they continue to win, still the second best record in all of baseball. A team in the American League East, being the Tampa Bay Rays, have 54 wins on the season. The Brewers with 59. Now, the team with the most, obviously, the LA Dodgers, 61 wins on the season, 2 games better than the Brewers. But the Brewers and the Dodgers also the best run differentials in baseball, and not by a little, by a lot. The Dodgers are 164 plus 164. The Brewers are plus 137. The next closest team in the National League is plus 95, and that's the Atlanta Braves, who are 5 wins less than the Milwaukee Brewers on the season. But other than that, I mean, the team that has the best run differential in the American League is the Yankees at 51 and 42, and that's plus 85. So you can just kind of see what the Brewers and the Dodgers are doing. They're kind of running away with everything at this point in time. Now you got to put together the unofficial second half of the season and then just kind of go from there. But looking forward to it. So let's do this. We'll step out on this really wacky and weird Friday, but that's okay. We're basking under the sun today. The Tiki Bar is up and going. And somebody asked me what the shot is of the pole. There it is right there for those that are watching on the live stream. That is the pole, the Tiki pole that is in the backyard here. And it's just a camera that's kind of facing up from the ground, and it just tells you all the different places. It tells you the fire pit, it says Backyard Paradise, the Bill Michaels Show, and it talks about coming in classy and leaving trashy and margaritas and all kinds of stuff. But it was all these posts and signs that have been given to me over the years, and they all sit on a pole here in the backyard. But that's a look up at the pole and the beautiful blue skies that we're sitting under today. out back. All right, let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a lot more to get to. Hopefully, you're enjoying your start to your weekend, much like we are. They have got rubbing and racing and such going on over there at Road America. Road America, they have got IMSA is a coming. They got the with Brian Redden coming up, IMSA, GT Challenge, Art on Wheels, and the SDCA National Championships, and still a lot of racing going on there. For all the tickets, all the information, the campsites, everything, go to roadamerica.com. That is roadamerica.com, or call them direct, 800-365-7223, 800-365-7223, 800-365-7223, or again, go to roadamerica.com. Road America, your national park of speed.
Grab a pen, Madison. I'm going to tell you how much it really costs to borrow $500 at the DLC. Okay, let's do a little math. If you borrow $500, it will only cost you $3.78 per day. You can keep it out for a week, a month, a year. That's up to you. No application fee, no sneaky charges, just $3.78 per day in interest for a $500 loan. For new customers, the first interest is even on us. It's easy to qualify, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out at Tyler Loan Center. Visit us in Madison or Beloit, and DLC is now open in Janesville, Beaver Dam, and coming soon to Sun Prairie.
License regulated by Wisconsin and financial institutions. In not placed on license pay frequency today. Percentage rated 273%. For additional cost information, call 867-550-4352. Subject to approval, limitation by FOC website for details.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
But if the Brewers want to go further this year, and they are fully capable of doing that, they're going to need to be more aggressive. How aggressive? Tarek Skubal aggressive? No, I don't expect that. But I do expect them to do some things. They're not going to trade prospects for. They can do that. Frankly, they have no excuse not to. They owe it to themselves to give themselves. That might be their best of all in all these years that they've had run, going back to the late 2000s. They've been really good.
Stash is trash in Ecuador. Yeah. It's that kind of a vibe today. A little Buffett. Sitting out back doing the Tiki Bar thing. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Big Boar Barbecue. Big Boar, B-O-A-R, Big Boar Barbecue. BigBoarBBQ.com. And if you want to check them out there in West Salem, Wisconsin. West Salem, Wisconsin. Good stuff. That's kind of our vibe today, is sitting out back at the Tiki Bar, just kind of hanging out. But Big Boar Barbecue, they are family owned, and they have got so much good stuff out there. They really do. If you go in for breakfast, by the way, breakfast is available until 11 a.m., 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. So they're open early now. You get all kinds of things. You get the ham and cheese omelet, which is always absolutely fantastic. You got the Big Boar Scrambler with peppers and onions and mushrooms and choices of meat and ham and egg and cheese wraps. But if you're thinking about this weekend, good stuff. Really good stuff. They've got sandwiches in the lunch and dinner menu, the pulled pork. They've got sliders, the brisket sandwich chopped up, hot beef, open faced. They can even do that. And then you just think about things that you can throw in the pan and take out for the group. You know, whether it's the pulled pork, whether it's the chicken, you got different, obviously, racks of ribs, things like that. Half rack of rib, full rack of ribs, 1 pound hot pulled pork. They can do that. So much good stuff. Plus, they carry their own barbecue sauces. A lot of great stuff over there at Big Boar, B-O-A-R, BigBoarBBQ.com. That is BigBoarBBQ.com in West Salem, Wisconsin. Stop in, tell them we said hi. That was Ken Rosenthal talking about the Milwaukee Brewers. It's kind of like, you owe it to yourself to go for it. Will they do Skubal go for it? Probably not. But will they do something else? Here's the question. And it made me think of listening to that. It made me think, put it that way. And I thought to myself when he said they kind of owe it to themselves to go for it. And I've always said, it depends on how far away you feel you are to go for it. Is this the year? Now, I'm not saying sell the farm. That's not what I'm saying. But is this the year you do a little extra and you say, you know what? Yeah, this team, this manager, this culture, this group, it's time. It's time. Do you feel it with this group? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Do you feel like there's something here? And if not, I'd love to know why. Now, I heard Ebo, other than ranting about his mug, I heard Ebo say something earlier today where he said, I'm a Brewers fan. I love what's going on. He talked about all the positive right now with the Brewers. And then he said, but I've resigned myself to the fact that they're probably not going to win a championship. And on one hand, that's a very pacifistic way to say, you know what, I'm just enjoying baseball. I'm just enjoying the ride. And that's a really good, fun attitude to have. But we all know what we're hoping for. But the question then becomes, have they now gathered enough steam, enough positivity? Is this the year to go for it? Is this the year to go for it? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Is this the year that you look at the Brewers and you say, if you're Matt Arnold, I'm gonna do some extra because I think we've got everything right here. You've got a team that's scrappy. that does a lot of things the right way. They win a lot of ball games in that fashion. They're not powering the ball out of the ballpark like the Dodgers. They're picking up runs in so many other ways. They've got good pitching. They've got seemingly a really good pulse of the team when it comes to Hook and, Chris Hook when it comes to the pitching staff, and obviously, Pat Murphy. Is this the year? Is this the year that you would throw the hat in the ring and say, yeah, it's time? Because if you don't, I don't know what else you're waiting for if you say no.
I hate myself for asking you this because this just ruins it. But when you say go for it, what does going for it mean to you? What would that look like? I don't need specific names, but just give me the best possible idea.
Go for it to me means I'm going after a bat and I'm going after another starting arm. I'm not going to completely mortgage the future, but I'm going after a bat and I'm going after a starting arm. I'm adding two pieces. It's telling everybody in the clubhouse, we believe you've got it. And I'm going to go after these two pieces. Now, easier said than done. And depends on what you're going to have to give up because you can't, get stupid. But we've always talked about at what point do you say, you know what, it's time. You got to go for it. We've talked about it all the time. So the question becomes, at what point do you say, yeah, we're in. Let's go. This is it. And I think in my heart that the Brewers are kind of right there. You got a manager that everybody just loves. You got a culture in that clubhouse that seems to be fantastic. It doesn't matter who shows up. They've been able to turn wine from water into, more often than not, a positive. It's very rare that they've gotten somebody that's gotten worse. And most of the players they've got brought in, even arms that nobody heard of, and you went, "Who is this guy?" And next thing you know, they're Cy Young in this lineup. Or you got a guy like Vaughn, who was left for dead on the side of the road as excessive baggage down in Chicago, and he comes here and he's done nothing but hit 348 since he walked through the doors of American Family Field. I'm kind of like, right now you've got something that a lot of other teams kind of envy. Now's the time to me to say, we got to go for it. Otherwise, they were talking last night during the broadcast that eventually Bryce Terang's going to get paid. And you still got Ortiz here, who's incredibly, good defensively. Sal Frelick's starting to come on. Garrett Mitchell's really come on. Cheerio is Cheerio. You've got a first base combination that's really, really good. The only guy that's really massively struggling is Christian Yelich, and he's your veteran leader. You could use another bat in that lineup, specifically if he's not hitting. You're not saying get rid of him, but you bring up a guy in Lara who came in and produced almost immediately. It's like things are just good right now. Can you just get two guys who are veterans, who are hungry, and maybe a year or a year or two away from a contract, that just want to come in and play for a team that's winning and just say, look, we can be a part of something great. And now's the time to do it. That's just kind of my feeling. Because I'm thinking to myself, when is a good time? Well, they're probably thinking, well, we would like to get Mate up, and then Lara's here full time, and then, we've got a rotation of our infielders, and, whether or not we're going to pay Bryce Terang, we'll have to wait and see. And you don't, at what point do you just say, we got to go for it, man? We got a good group of guys. We got a good philosophy. We got a good culture. We got everything good right now. We're second best in all of Major League Baseball. And the team that's standing on our way from being the best in baseball happens to be in the National League. That's our nemesis. That's what we have to get past. So what do they have that we don't? They've got depth. They've got poppers. They've got arms. We got good arms. We don't have great arms, but we got arms that can at least hold them at bay a little bit. But we don't have that extra guy. We don't have that extra oomph where you have the swagger walking through the door. That's just me. That's just me. But that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of like, whatever's available that you believe is going to, and you know what? Here's the other thing, Grant. When you say don't give you a name, I can't. And here's the reason why. Because I think Matt Arnold gets somebody that nobody knows is available. I think he finds somebody somewhere that nobody knows is available. And you went, I didn't see that deal coming.
I thought you were going to say, I think he's going to get someone who no one knows that they exist. because like I think that's likely too, or a guy that you forgot.
That's possible.
Oh, he's still in the league.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he was with Atlanta,
Right.
or whoever.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably do something that I think it'll be similar to what they did last year, which is like this guy is injured and maybe he could come back and be something, and we're going to get him for free.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the extent of what they do at the deadline, because I don't think a lot of these smart teams view trade deadline deals as good business. Why are we going to give you 2 top 100 prospects for a reliever for 2 months, and we're just going to hope that he's good for 2 months? I don't know. I think baseball teams are getting smarter, and it makes the deadline less interesting, but I understand why they operate the way that they do.
Right.
Well, this year could be different.
Yeah,
They got a lot of ammo, though.
That's the other thing, is that there's some teams that are still holding on to some kind of hope. And one of the things that teams don't want to do right now is begin to alienate or disappoint or, send their fan bases elsewhere for the remainder of the season because they want them to still buy tickets and keep holding on to hope that there's, some kind of a wild card chance there. But some of these teams, realistically, I mean, they're foundering, and they really don't have a legitimate shot at winning a championship. So why would you just kind of hang on to everything and give up opportunities down the road to hang on to the hope of a wild card when chances are you're going to get that? So I'm thinking that there's been a little bit of separation. Instead of just having 3 or 4 teams, I think there's about 6 teams now, 7 teams now that are probably going, you know what, we could become sellers, and we could maybe get a couple of futuristic pieces that might help us and still be able to help a team like the Brewers. Although I don't think it's going to be any dealings within the National League Central where the Brewers are going to get it. We know that I've been reading a lot out of Chicago because the Cubs are looking for arms. So the arms race at the trade deadline, I think, is going to become pretty significant for teams that are going to be giving up pieces. And I don't know if the Brewers are going to give up a ton of pieces for another arm, which is why I'm leaning more towards the possibility of really somebody saying, hey, this bat is available, this position player is available, this DH is available, and the Brewers maybe go in that direction. Because I think the Cubs are looking for arms. I know that there was some talk with the Yankees looking for arms. There's talk with the Tampa Bay Rays looking for arms. Atlanta's looking for arms. I mean, everybody's looking for extra relievers. Chicago was, even the White Sox were talking about it. So I just think that the arms race is going to become a high-priced race unless you find somebody, like I said, that it's just right now in somebody else's rotation insignificant. But I'm anxious to see what the Brewers are going to do. But I looked at it in what I heard there from Ken Rosenthal, just basically going, you know what? Maybe now is the time. You got a looming work stoppage on the horizon. You don't know what you're going to be like in a couple of years. What the hell, and just go for it. And I'll tell you what, if you did that, it would be a massive, massive adrenaline shot to not only a fan base that's already at a fever pitch, but also to a clubhouse that's going, wow, okay, they really believe we're ready to go. And I just think there's no bad that can come from that. Unless, of course, you get crazy and you overpay, which I don't think the Brewers would ever do. All right, let's do this. I want to get your opinion on this. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. I want to hear from you. And would love to hear what your thoughts are on this. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows Indoors. Go to PellaWI.com, and on a day like this, you want to be outside. But I also have the air conditioning going. So I'm keeping the air conditioning on the inside. In the meantime, I'm outside. And I'm watching the electric bills that do not escalate the way they used to since I put in the Pella Windows and Doors. They're fantastic. And they give you curb appeal, the home beautification, value to your home. I've already been told by when I had my house appraised that when I added the windows and doors, they basically pay for themselves. So if you're thinking about maybe selling in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to get your money back. So don't worry about that either. Certified installers do it. And what I recommend is the free in-home consultation. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. Or call them direct. 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Your Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. It's that kind of a day. Welcome to you today. Enjoying
this is normally when I'm leaving for vacation, but I'm not taking a vacation. At least not going to the house this year. So
feels like we're on a vacation.
I know
right
it feels
now,
like.
What
it.
are you talking about?
I'm telling you, man. It's picture perfect out here. I just normally during breaks, I get up, I'm moving around unless I got stuff I have to research or something, and I'm all over the house or out of the studio walking around. And today I don't do anything. I just sit here. This is just awesome. Sitting here, I know out in front there's the construction trucks and the dump trucks and everything that's going on, but back here, sitting in the Tiki Bar and the coming up at the top of the hour, maybe in the next break or so, I'm actually going to fire up the margarita maker that's sitting here behind me. I'm going to fire that up. I don't have a handheld camera, so I can't necessarily do it on camera, but I'm going to fire that up. I got the ice ready to go. I'm going to throw it in there, make the mixer down below, and yeah, boy.
Can you do a live tutorial on the air?
I could do that.
Heard worse ideas.
Yeah, I don't put it out of the realm of possibility. I don't know if the cord is long enough to get it up to the front so the camera can see it, but I got the margarita maker over my shoulder and the mixin's right here and a couple of strawberries in the refrigerator down below. So I'm ready to go, but yeah, gonna do that. Got a good Oliva cigar lit up, sitting out back. It's like sitting in paradise. And then for Mark and Max and then Carrie, who have all asked, they're like, what is on over your shoulder? It is the old, if you go to, now I have Spectrum, but I think it is 253, channel 253 is classic old MTV, going back to the 80s, 90s, 2000s. And I don't know what they're playing right now. Looks like it might be even Milli Vanilli or something. I don't know what that looks like. But earlier today, it was all 90s and 2000s rock. Is all it was. It was Van Halen. It was Stones. It was just all kinds of good stuff. But I was feeling nostalgic, so I put it on. My what I'm wearing today, the old Tops Bazooka Joe T-shirt came in the mail. This is great. I'm just happy today. I just got a pair of shorts on and some gym shoes, and that's it. That's the way to live the life. So I'm hanging out outside today. I'm going to be doing the margaritas, but if you're going to have a weekend and you want to do the Lakeside Pale Ale, you want to do the Drop Dead Blonde, you've got the Great Outdoors as well, all the different summertime beverages from Point Brewing. Brewing excellence since 1857, and some of them are even in NA now. So if you're the NA group and you want to do that, make sure you look local. Keep supporting the local brands. That is Point Brewing. Brewing excellence since 1857. That's our friends at Point Brewing, and they have all kinds of great beverages for you. So and we will coming up here in just a little bit. And I want to get into this about the questions as to whether or not the Brewers are at a point in which you just say you got to go for it. I did get one question about Bryce Wilson, and now I think it was Fansided. Fanside said that I think Bryce Wilson, who had one of his better seasons, was with the Brewers, is somebody that is going to be signed or will be signed by the Brewers.
Yeah, Robert Murray reported that earlier today, so that's Fanside.
So that looks like that's probably going to happen. I haven't read anything or seen it on any of the other major outlets, but Bryce Wilson, he's 28, his ninth major league season. He's worked both as a starter and a reliever, and that would be the kind of player, when we were talking about this earlier, Grant, that would be the kind of player they would go get. And then with what they have going on right now on the pitching staff, now it's whether or not it would be a major league or a minor league contract, probably signing to a minor leaguer first and then bringing him to the big league team if he goes down in, say, to Nashville and really looks good. Then he's an extra arm. Then he's a guy that can start for you in a pinch. He's a guy that can, give you some middle relief in a pinch. And that's a very Brewers-esque move. And the Brewers outrighted him off the roster ahead of the 2025 season. He landed with the White Sox, but posted that 6.65 ERA for that club. But then again, we know the White Sox, for the most part, as an organization, have kind of sucked. They let go of Vaughn. Vaughn comes here and just flourishes. Maybe Wilson coming back, plays better, grows better. He gave Milwaukee 181 and a third innings with a 3.42 ERA and an 18.9% strikeout rate. We'll see. But that might be a guy that they bring back at the age of 29, 28. They resurrect his career, and he has a good season and earns some money and plays for a team that's actually got a winning culture. And now we see what happens. But, yeah, that's floating around out there. All right, let's get to the phones. Let's go to Nate listening to us in Appleton. Nate, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
It's a beautiful day in the Fox Valley, Bill. How are you?
Doing great today. What do you think?
Good, good. Hey, I tend to be let the process play out and see how things go type of fan. I try not to get too far ahead of myself and try not to get too anxious at the deadline and stuff. But in this particular instance, I love this conversation because even by Brewer standards, our farm system is incredibly deep. And the idea of giving up a couple of prospects for a bat that can hit a gap when they need to is particularly appetizing this year. You mentioned we got 9 guys in the top 100. That doesn't even include Andrew Fisher, who's got 20-some-odd home runs in the minors this year. I think you could give up prospects and not disrupt the overall long-term process of developing young players, getting them up under club control early so that we're still relevant in 2030, 31, and 32. This is the year, in my mind, because you have an embarrassment of riches down there. You could get a guy who's maybe even under club control for the next year at this rate and be just as relevant next year during the season and the postseason. So I'm in favor of it, even from a guy who's very, very patient and tend to be a do not disturb type guy when things are working well. I'm definitely in favor of pulling the trigger and going to get someone who can get a timely hit when you need it in the postseason.
Yeah, I would not be adverse to them getting the bat. And even put it this way, if you don't have to give up a lot, maybe even getting a guy that you're only going to rent, because the other thing is, remember, you may not even have a season next year. I mean, the rumors are that they're going to lose, say, spring training part of the season, but maybe not the whole season. But you may not even have a full season next year. It may not even matter. So if it costs you a lot less to just give up a prospect that's on the lower end of your totem pole, and you can get a true bat to come in, that might not be a terrible thing if the Brewers choose to go in that direction. I know we ask this question every year because, they've been relevant for the last 3 or 4 years, for sure. But there's just a different feel. Last year, they were kind of a cardiac team. This year, they're beginning to end. I mean, they're a good baseball team. And I keep asking myself, at what point do you say, we're going for it? If you're playing poker and you keep winning hands, but you're not winning the jackpot, that's good. You walk away with some money. But at what point do you want to win the jackpot? You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm at right now as a Brewers fan.
I'm not even necessarily opposed to parting with someone who's currently on the roster. I mean, I think that's the beauty of the position that they're in right now.
Right.
Like you have position players that other teams would value, if even only for their defensive purposes, because you have other guys in the minors that you can bring up, or guys on the roster that warrant more playing time.
Right.
So I think it's not just the minors; it's the young, attractive players that you have on the current roster that you can upgrade if you needed to right now. I don't know. It's a beautiful conversation, a wonderful season. Hopefully we're watching for a number of months now.
Yep. No
problem. You guys have a good weekend.
You too, bud. Talk to you soon. He drops off. You get on board 877-867-1670. I mean, you talk about maybe a prospect and a guy like a Blake Perkins. You talk about a current player like a Garrett Mitchell. Because we believe Lara is going to be the next coming. So, there's a few pieces that you may have. Could you give up? Could you go get the bopper, say a third baseman, and then give up Ortiz back? I don't know how much you disrupt what you have, but I think at some point you kind of look at it and go, we got to get better. You believe you're better at shortstop, and Cooper Pratt is now starting to hit the ball and seeing the ball a little bit better. But
smaller sample, but July's been really good for him.
Yeah,
the last 10 days, and some extra base hits too. It's not all just little slap right side base hits that sneak through the infield.
Yeah, and even like last night, he really went down and got that ball that he kind of hit off the very end of the bat that fell in. And I even thought to myself, that's one where it was just a good at bat. He didn't get a line drive. It wasn't a screamer or anything like that. It was just a flare. But he went down and got it and muscled it enough to just get it out of the infield, drop it in just in front of the left fielder, and be able to get himself a base hit. And that's when guys are seeing the ball.
Yeah. And that's how Murphy manages these guys too. When he benched Cooper Pratt, benching is, when he gave him a day and a half off, a mental break, he called it. It's not because he wasn't getting hits. It's because the at-bats weren't good.
Right.
And he comes back from that pause. It's like, okay, he's doing a better job swinging at the right pitches. And that's why Lara's been good so far. Lara, I don't know what his numbers are so far, but you watch him and he puts together good at-bats. He gets up there and sees pitches and swings it. That's the number one priority for these young hitters when they come up, at least in Pat Murphy's eyes.
That cat's got an energy. He's got
He's
an
fun to
energy.
watch.
Yes, he is. That cat's got an energy, man. I just enjoyed him. I mean, when he came in head first in the plate, jumped up, pounding his chest, screaming, high-fiving, going to the dugout. I was like, wow. I haven't seen that out of a rookie or somebody new popping up since maybe CeCe got out of a jam his first game at American Family Field and started screaming and pumping his fist into his glove. And at that point, I kind of went, okay, we haven't seen energy like this in a while. And we saw it again in Laura.
I thought of different type of debut, but I thought of Sal Frelick a couple summers ago too. He had a bunch of hits. Like it wasn't just he had energy. Like he made a bunch of plays in that game. But that was the debut that I thought of, where a guy came up and you instantly watch him and thought, oh, that's a guy. The way he moves, the energy, like you could just get the eye test type of thing.
Right. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. A lot more to get to, and I want to get your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say in regards to all of this. Hey, speaking of this side of the state of Wisconsin, if you're looking for really good barbecue, it's LD's, LDSBBQ.com. LD's Barbecue, right there on Main Street in East Troy, right off of 43. If you're going down towards, say, Lake Geneva, heading down that way, or Beloit, back and forth from there to Milwaukee, and then you just look at East Troy and you go, right there. There you go. It's right off the highway. Whether it's a rack of ribs, the pulled pork, the smoked stuff that they have there as well, full chickens, roasted chickens and everything, and they make their own sauces as well. They've won a ton of awards for their barbecue. That is LD's, LD'sBBQ.com. I personally, their baked beans are out of this world. You take a little bit of that spicy sauce, squirt it into the baked beans, and that's a meal within itself. It's fantastic. LD'sBBQ.com, LDSBBQ.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Little lake life, little boat life. Our friends at Skipper Buds reminding you that, hey, the summer is in full kick, man. Full kick. So if you are thinking about getting out on the water, or maybe you want to get some accessories for your floating vessel, whatever it happens to be, man, good stuff at Skipper Buds. They got a lot of different boats to choose from, whether it's a fishing boat, pontoons. You can trade yours in. They're always looking for trade-ins, too, by the way. They're always looking for trade-ins, specifically pontoons, which are really hot right now. But if you need some service work, or if you just want to buy the accessories, say, to ski, to tube, you want one of the floating islands, the lily pads, whatever it is, they've got something for everybody. That is Skipper Buds. Get a hold of my buddy Todd. He's the GM right here in Pewaukee, the one that I go to all the time. I see Kathy out there in the service department and Ryan over there in the service department. But Todd is the GM. Whether it's boat sales, service, and storage, call him 262-544-1200. Ask for Todd, 262-544-1200. And got to give a shout-out to Skipper Buds up there in Sturgeon Bay. That's where we're going to be staying. So because you can't find housing and places to stay that's relatively reasonable in Door County. So I was telling Todd about it, and he said, you know what? We've actually got RV sites, executive RV sites, and nice ones at our dealership, our boat launch right on the lake. And he said, if you want to just stay there, bring the RV. So that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to get around Door County. So the RV is going to be, hopefully by Door County Fire Department or Fire Company, and by the winery, Lake Fire Winery. We got a place to park the RV, but we're going to be traveling around in the RV in Door County. So Skipper Buds here, sales, service, and storage in Pewaukee, 262-544-1200. But they've got some legit places all over the state of Wisconsin. I know what right up there in Lake Dubois, up there off of Winnebago, and also up there in Sturgeon Bay. So we're looking forward to it. Check it out. Get some boat life. Get some lake life. We have got another 2. We're 2 hours down. We got 2 hours yet to go. Don't go anywhere. More of the Bill Michaels Show on a Tiki Bar Fun Friday. Stay tuned. We got more right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are in Pittsburgh. It's where they're going to open up a series against the Pirates tonight. It's the last one before the All-Star break. Milwaukee comes in a season best 25 games above 500 after taking 4 or 5 from St. Louis. Well, Pittsburgh's sitting at 500 on the year, but the Brewers are going to face several stiff challenges on the mound over the next 3 days, including tonight against Braxton Ashcraft. He's 9-3 this year with a 3.24 ERA. He definitely has the attention of Brewers manager Pat Murphy.
Tough one to go in the in the game. Maybe the most underrated pitcher in the game. Is he going to the All-Star game? Ashcraft? He's good, man. This guy's really good. So we got him, and we got Stevens on Sunday. Those are 2 of the best in the game. So in between, one of the top prospects in the game. So the Pirates have played great baseball. And yeah, we're at 3rd place. The whole thing. So we got to keep playing well on the road.
Milwaukee's pitching lineup features Brandon Sproat going tonight and Shane Jorhan going on Saturday. Then on Sunday, he'll be 2 of the best young pitchers in baseball with Jacob Growski on the mound versus the reigning Cy Young Award winner and Paul Skeens. First pitch for tonight's game comes at 5:45. Meanwhile, the Major League Baseball draft is this weekend. First 4 rounds are tomorrow, with the other 15 happening on Sunday. The Brewers' first pick comes tomorrow at number 25. The NBA Summer League in Las Vegas got underway last night. The Bucks making their debut today as they face off against the Heat. And the Packers just 19 days away from opening up training camp. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome back in to all of you on the network. We appreciate you being here, and hopefully we're bringing you a good Friday kind of vibe. We're outside today, the Tiki Bar. Perfect weather. 82 degrees, sunshine. It is awesome. Going a little retro today. Got the Bazooka Joe Topps baseball card T-shirt on today. Got the throwback when MTV used to actually play music, and that's on behind me today, which I don't know what we got cranking now. I don't know if it's Yo MTV Raps or what it is, but going back to the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s. And we have that going today. It's just sitting under the Tiki Bar. We're going to fire that up here in just a little bit, the grill, a couple of hot dogs, and then here in the next break, I think maybe we'll actually do a margarita on the air. Just kind of one to say good day to the weekend. Just to say hello. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. Talking about Brewers baseball. This year seems to have somewhat of a special connotation to it. I can't put my finger on it. I feel good about it. I feel good about where they're at. But at what point do you just say, you know what? Here's how we judge going for it. And maybe it's time to go for it. You got a labor stoppage possibly looming in the offseason going into next year. You got just a plethora, an embarrassment of riches when it comes to having the best minor league system in baseball. Like, at what point do you say, we got to go for this. We got to do this. 877-867-1670. You can text us 608-321-1670. We're on YouTube. You can watch the show and kind of see sitting here under the Tiki Bar, the television camera. You can find us on Twitter, on YouTube, all that kind of good stuff. YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Twitter, X, @Bill_Michaels. Find Grant @Wisco Grant. The app is Wisco Sports Zone. 3 words, put them all together. And to find us that way, you can take us anywhere and everywhere when you download us. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Thebillmichaels.com is the website. And don't forget, I posted a video a little bit earlier today over on Instagram. And you can find us there, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the same. The Bill Michaels Show. Same thing with the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. And our television show airs tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central Time in Milwaukee on My 24 TV. That is My 24 TV. And you can find us there. Grant Bill's alongside. And the question that just kind of a preponderance coming out of Ken Rosenthal's discussion was at what point do you kind of go for it? If you're the Brewers, do you kind of owe it to yourself at this point to say, we're here, man? Second best record in baseball. We've sustained through it all. We had some really concerning injuries to start the season. Our pitching and we just overcame. Our pitching has been, we've lost arms, we've gained arms, we've lost arms. 50 plus guys have been used via the roster so far. And you feel like just everything they're doing, they're pushing the right buttons. Now, do you just figure the minor league guys coming up would be the right buttons? Or do you say, hey, it's time to go? I mean, the report is Bryce Wilson's going to come back to the Brewers. He had his best season when he was with the Brewers some years ago. And but is going to be on a major league or a minor league contract. He ended up pitching last year with the White Sox, and that was just a disaster there. But we all know that you come into this Brewers system for whatever reason, Chris Hook and the pitching lab and company, they just have this way of kind of figuring things out. So is it a move that's just kind of like a Brewers-esque move, or is there something else up their sleeve? What do you do, So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And don't forget, coming up bottom of the hour, Matt Pauley is going to be joining us. We'll talk with him from KMOX Radio coming out of St. Louis. And Matt just had a chance up close and personal to see the Brewers, and we'll get his take as somebody from the outside looking in as to how dominant the Brewers are and how good they are and what they compare to. And right now, second best record in all of baseball, as we all know, is enough to get past the nemesis, the big bad beast of the block, that LA Dodgers. So interesting stuff. 877-867-1670. Also coming up here in a short period of time, we're going to hear from Pat Murphy as well from last night. So, but the Brewers get a win. They win 4 out of 5 down in St. Louis.
And they now go off to Pittsburgh. Every team in the National League Central lost, but the Brewers last night, obviously. So the Cubs lost, the Reds lost, the Pirates lost, and obviously the Cardinals. Brewers the only team to get a win. Now, I think it's 7 games up, as I said earlier, on the Cubs. And I said, somebody asked yesterday, they said, at what point do you kind of feel like the division's done? If the Brewers, by, say, that last week of July, extend this lead to double digits over the Cubs, I'd pretty much say the division is done. Put a fork in them at that point. Now, we know that the Cubs are actually going for arms as well. There's quite a few teams. I was reading during one of the commercial breaks. There's quite a few teams that are going to be looking for arms. Tampa Bay is looking for arms. Chicago, the White Sox are looking for arms. Cleveland could possibly be looking for arms. Minnesota has even a possibility of going after an arm. The Rangers, the same thing. Seattle, they're looking for an arm and a bat. Houston could be looking for arms as well. I mean, it's an arms race. Atlanta, there's Philadelphia. The Brewers could be looking for another starter. The Dodgers don't really need them, but they may buy them just to make sure that nobody else gets them. But you've got the Braves right now up in the East on the Phillies by 3 games and the Marlins by 3 games. And the Marlins have very quietly moved into the mix. All of a sudden, they're a team that could be on the heels of catching Atlanta. Now, the hottest team over in the American League East has pretty much been the Phillies after that horrific start. But don't look now, the longest win streak in baseball, if you didn't know, is the Marlins at 6 games. The Marlins have won 6 straight. Them and the Red Sox. The Red Sox have finally started to turn things around a little bit, but they're so far back, their season's done. They're 11 games back in the standings over in the American League East. The longest win streak in baseball right now belongs to the Marlins at 6 straight. So there's going to be quite a few teams that are going to be looking for arms, but the Brewers could use that protective bat. So we'll see if they get it. Again, I don't know who's available.
So sorry to interrupt. That list that you're reading, what story is that from, or what article? What insider were you looking at?
CBS Sports.
So I'm just listening to that list of teams that are supposed to be adding, right? And this is why I don't always get trade deadline buzz or coverage, is because I thought some of the teams in that list were the teams that were supposedly selling off pieces for other teams to buy. Like I thought everyone's supposed to be acquiring Yordan Alvarez from the Astros, but the Astros are adding. I thought everyone was supposed to be trying to get Joe Ryan from the Twins, but the Twins are supposed to add. Like, everyone thinks the Tigers, Tarek Skubal, the Tigers have like the best record in baseball post July 1 or some, I don't remember what day it is.
They won 5 straight too. Yeah.
Correct. And the Red Sox were like, well, they'll sell Sonny Gray and Chapman and Contreras. They're the hottest team in the American League, and the American League stinks. So if I'm a team that's even close to the American League, I don't want to sell. Who's selling? Where I know all these teams are supposed to buy. This team wants a bat. This team wants an arm. From what marketplace are these teams acquiring these players? That's always my question.
Here's the thing. Go to the American League. The only teams that are really probably selling: the Orioles, the A's, the Royals, and the Angels. The Tigers are 3.5 games back of the wild card. Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays are 2.5 back. The Astros are 1.5 back. The Twins are a game back in the wild card. Seattle is right there. Cleveland and New York are all right there, tied or better for a wild card berth.
If I ran any of those, I wouldn't sell on any of those teams except if I was maybe the Angels, but the Angels suck. They don't have anyone to sell.
They have
really, I can think of.
But the Orioles are 4 games back, and that's kind of an apparition. They're also negative 32 in run differential, and that's just I
also, by the way, just Brewers fans, little side, we don't have to stick with this, but just to mention, like, the Orioles are the team that a lot of Brewers fans wanted to be or want the team to be. Build it all the way up, tear it all the way down, build it up, tear it down. Mm-hmm. The Orioles lost 100 games for like 3 or 4 straight years. Mm-hmm. And they had one good crack in the playoffs with Corbin Burns, and they lost in the first round, and they've sucked ever since.
Right.
So the Orioles, just in and itself, it's funny you mentioned the Orioles because they're like the cautionary tale for people that want the Brewers to go all in and then build it up again and do that whole thing.
Right.
I just don't think there are going to be that many sellers. That's my concern. If every team wants a bat and an arm, where are these bats and arms coming from?
I think the 5 teams in the 5 or 6 teams in the National League that are probably selling is the Diamondbacks, the Padres, the Reds for sure, the Mets, the Giants, the Rockies for sure.
So
those teams most likely.
Just to nitpick, if I ran the Diamondbacks, I wouldn't sell. They made the World Series winning 85 games a couple of years, 84 games. And Corbin Burns is coming back. And they have Ketel Marte. So, like, I would hold my water. I don't know what the Padres are going to do. The Padres maybe should strip it down and start it over, but they've invested so much money. It's the same with the Mariners, the Jays in the AL, and the Tigers, all these teams have invested so much.
Right.
They're supposed to be contending. So if they're even close, I'm not selling. I'm going to hope we can have a great month of September and be the hot team that gets in and goes on a run.
The problem is the Diamondbacks, nobody's going to win the West but the Dodgers. The Dodgers have ended the West. It's over. The Diamondbacks are second place in the West. They're 14 and a half games back with the Padres. So they're 14 and a half. So they're not even close to winning the West, and they're all 5+ back in the wild card. And to win the wild card, you would then have to leapfrog the Pirates, the Nationals, the Cardinals, the Marlins, the Phillies, and the Cubs.
I would feel good about leapfrog. If I was running the Padres with the Diamondbacks and I had built the roster the way I did, I'd have to feel good about a couple of those teams. Like, the Cardinals will fall off. We'll jump the Reds and the Pirates. So like, this is what I'm talking about. Like you can squint if you run a lot of these teams and think, well, why would we sell? Let's just hold on and see if we can't get out.
I just don't think that they're going to pass the Phillies or the Cubs.
Phillies and Cubs are the two, sure. Yeah. So there you go.
That's your nemesis right now. The Marlins, could they be an apparition at this point? We'll wait and see. But St. Louis is kind of hung tough, and they've remained in the rearview mirror, but they're starting to fade. The Nationals are right there. They're 4 games back, and Pittsburgh is 5 games back in Pittsburgh. But all the teams above the Diamondbacks, all of those teams except for the Phillies, and the Phillies were a negative run differential like by 50-something at one point. Now it's just -9 because they've won so many games coming back, specifically at the beginning of June. All of those teams are positive run differentials. The Arizona Diamondbacks are not. They're -28. The Padres are -43. The Reds are -58. The Mets are -56, -67 for the Giants, and -86 for the Rockies. So their run differential is very indicative as to where they are right now when it comes to a team that's got the haves and have-nots. That's why if I'm the Diamondbacks and you've got some good play, if you maybe got a contract or two that are coming up that maybe you're not going to pick up, that could be a piece for another team, and you can get some more good young talent that's maybe semi-major league ready over the next 2 years. That might be the way to go for the Diamondbacks.
Sure. Like they could sell. I know Ketel Marte was weighed in trade offers in the offseason, but he's a guy who's under contract 1, 2, 3, 4 more years. Now, his contract's actually not awful. It's $12 million and then 20, 22, 22. So, for a player of his level, but he'd be on the books for the Brewers until 2031. And Terang's here. They just signed Pratt. Madej's on the way. And also, he's going to cost a mountain, especially at the deadline if multiple teams are interested in him, and they would be. So I spiritually, Bill, I am with you, and I am with many, where it's like, well, the Brewers should try to do something, but they shouldn't break the bank and they shouldn't get a rental. Well, my argument is they probably will have to break the bank, or it will be a rental because that's kind of how the deadline works.
You got the Cubs, the Phillies, the Marlins, and then St. Louis is 3 games back. Those 3 teams right now at the top, Cubs, Phillies, and Marlins, are all right there in the wild card. And then you kind of go back from there. But again, there's over the last 2 weeks, we were talking about maybe 4 teams selling, and it's going from 4 to be 8 as we get towards the All-Star break. And it's probably going to change even more between now and the end of the month, because what is the trade deadline? August 3rd or 6th or something like that? Possibly. I can't remember the exact trade deadline for Major League Baseball, but it's like the first week of August. And
August 3rd. Yep.
Yeah, August 3rd. So it's over the next week, those teams, if they fall off even more, it just solidifies the fact that they're probably going to be sellers if there's something that they can get that's going to be worth their while, and obviously worth the team that's trying to pick them up and acquire. Anyway, let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll hear Pat Murphy when we come back. A little margarita time when we come back as well. Stay tuned. A whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show outside today. Broadcasting outside today. Enjoying the outdoors here in the Tiki Bar. This portion of it, speaking of good bars, brought to you by our friends at Woman's Pub and Grill. In Milwaukee on St. Paul Avenue. They have some, the first Monday of every month, they have really good networking events down there. Also in Waukesha on William Street, where there's brioche burgers or that Bloody Mary with whole meal stuffed in it. That is our friends at Sobelman's Pub and 27 plus years, a staple in the Milwaukee area. That is Sobelman's.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Gotta remind you, our friends down at TheNiceAsh.com, which is actually, this is where I got one of these really good cigars, the Oliva. I got it down there. And they carry a great line of cigars. They carry a great line of hookahs. But more so than anything, last night, tonight, tomorrow night, live music, entertainment. So if you want to go ahead and check out the Brewers games, a good vibe in the place and some live music. They always have great bands in there. Don't forget about Turntable Tuesdays, where you just bring in your own album and you can throw it on the turntable, which is actually really cool. They've got poker on Monday nights, the Whiskey Club, fine bourbons and whiskeys down there. That is TheNiceAsh.com. TheNiceAsh.com. Welcome back. We are broadcasting live in the Tiki Bar. I had to make a little room back here with the chair because I did get the camera over here. So I'm going to do as Pat Murphy is discussing. I'm going to actually do the making as we got right here. If you're watching at home, so got the ice in the top of the maker, and I've got all the fixings right here. Which you got the strawberry, you got the tequila and such for the margarita mix, and then it blends it all up, and then it's going to go right into the mug. But we're going to take a listen to Pat Murphy and to see what he has to say. And in the meantime, over the next couple of minutes, while we're listening to that, for those that are watching on the live stream, we're going to make a margarita too. So Pat Murphy talking after last night's ball game.
Bauer's swim move early in the game to get that first run.
Oh, it was a great question, Adam. That was significant that he made that. It was kind of an errant throw from the pitcher, and third baseman kind of lost touch of where he was, so he avoided it pretty nicely. Great athleticism.
And then the homer is a game changer. He's not going to the All-Star game, but his impact for you guys has just been huge, hasn't it?
Yeah, you can't find a player, Miz, maybe bigger impact. I'm not sure, but it for sure, Bowers has been a huge impact this whole year, as well as Bryce, as well as William, as well as Harrison. I think they're all deserving, but I'm not going to even get involved in that whole situation. I don't know the big picture. I don't know other teams as well. I just try to prepare to compete against them. So I don't know who's played great and who hasn't, so I'm no expert to say. I know those guys have been a real key for us.
Oh, sorry, I had someone else in my head. Logan Henderson.
Passed.
5 1/3.
What do you got? Wasn't ready.
I was going to ask about the starting pitching too. Logan.
Were you?
After tonight.
Yeah, Logan was fantastic. To come off the IL, not pitching a big league game for I don't know how many months, and come here and throw against this offensive of the club, and to throw 5+ and walk one, give 3 hits or whatever he gave up, and set us up for a victory was fantastic. Chad Patrick gave up a home run, bad pitch. It happens. Credit the hitter, because that hitter is not a hitter as there is in baseball. Leader in RBIs in the game. He went right at him and gave up a homer, but then settled down and gave us 5 big outs after that. And then we got to Ashby, who pitched in a big jam and got out that same hitter with a strikeout and got a pop out to end the inning. So Ashby and Uribe, it's not always easy to pitch with a lead. I'm proud of both those guys too.
My year was 4 out of 5. How big is that for you guys?
It's big. Every win's big. Like this, you blow a game like this, it's a game changer. So, you have to stay the course and critique your team. We have some ball fours that we swung at. We had 8 pull-side ground balls that resulted in 7 outs. We said coming in the game, we want to hit pull-side ground balls. We did 7 of the outs, 7 of our 27. So you use the outs efficiently if you can. But we did do a lot of great things. So proud of our club. There's a lot of great at-bats. Terrain, Bowers, as you mentioned. Southfield got a couple knocks. Pratt continues to impress. His offensive ability and defensive ability. Churio put up 2 base hits for us, hit hard. Ran the bases on the sac fly and got himself safe at the plate by an inch. And a lot of good plays, a lot of good stuff. So.
From a little bit bigger picture, this stretch of the schedule you guys have been looking at from the start of 17 in a row.
You were looking at.
Were you?
No, didn't. I said I'll get there when I get there. You know what I mean? Can't get there before you get there. Right?
With 3 to
you
go.
Can't get there before you get there.
I understand. So 3 to go.
I want you to say that after me. You can't get there.
You can't get there till you get there, but
until you get there. Okay? There's more of an emphasis on the last part. Until you get there. I thought it was, pretty good. We're not done with this trip. So when did we start this trip? I don't remember so long ago.
The trip started on Friday.
That's it? On Friday?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So only not even a week ago.
But before that, you had a week at home, solid.
You're looking for off days. Are you looking for a vacation again?
Vacation.
I'm not looking for off days. We're looking for wins. No. Seriously, Adam, no. I mean, a lot of guys have been talking about it, and our people that help us with the planning and strategy, they've been talking about the pitching and the ins and outs. There's a lot goes into it. But all that being said, you just play the game at hand. We have another one tomorrow, a tough one. We got one of the best pitchers in the game, maybe the most underrated pitcher in the game. Is he going to the All-Star game, Ashcraft?
Yes.
Yeah, he's good, man. This guy's really good. So we got him, and we got Skeens on Sunday. Those are 2 of the best in the game. So, and the kid in between is one of the top prospects in the game. So, and the Pirates have played great baseball. And, we're on 3rd place. Whole things. We got to keep playing well on the road. I don't even know what our record is on this road trip, but whatever it is, we got 3 more games. That's the past. And play 3 more games and see what happens.
There you go. Pat Murphy talking. And he's like, look, we're not looking for off days. We're going to keep stacking wins. You know, sometimes when you're really, really hot, you don't want to get to a long break because you've got something good going on and you can kind of feel it. And I think that's what Pat's kind of alluding to. Andrew said over in the live stream, he said, I thought it was interesting when Churio could have legged out the triple last night. And instead he settled for the double and then ended up taking third on the sacrifice fly and then coming home after that. It was awesome. But remember, the ball was it got away from the right fielder. And I don't think he necessarily noticed it. I don't think he realized, they even said it during the broadcast, he did not realize that it was going to be kind of a nonchalant play in right field. Otherwise, he probably could have taken third and turned it to the double into a triple. I agree with you. 877-867-1670. Buck Nasty, is that Biggie? That's Biggie. That's Biggie right there. Yeah. Yo, MTV Raps. Biggie's on in the background, which is cool in itself. So good stuff. But interesting stuff from Pat Murphy. Like, look, hey, we're winning right now. We don't want to stop the winning. We want to keep the winning going. When you get to the All-Star break, that can kind of put out the flame a little bit. Then again, I think it's also very, very needed. This team, I don't want to say they're running on fumes because they're winning games, but I think this team will get, well, I hope. I shouldn't say I think. I hope this team gets a little rejuvenation, and then they pick up where they left off, even with better bats coming out of the All-Star break. But there's certain guys that need the rest and need the time. You know, we all know Harrison needs the time. Needs the time. So all this time off is going to be good for these guys. And Miz has certainly been the power pitcher of the year, and he's pitched quite a few innings. Even though they do keep him on somewhat of a pitch count. I mean, you want to make sure your legs are fresh and you feel good. And if you can extend it out a little bit, that's what you do. But the Brewers, like I said, they've used, I think 53 or 54 guys now, maybe 56 this season on the roster because they just shuffle them back and forth. That's what they do. And that's one of the reasons they are able to keep some fresh legs on this team as well. So hopefully you enjoyed that during that little piece for those that were watching on the live stream. Because I showed you exactly how the margaritas. Grant, did you pay attention to that at all while you were listening to?
Oh my God, I've never been so locked into the live stream in my life. Kidding me?
That's pretty nice, pretty slick deal.
It's like Emerald.
Yeah, the margarita maker. By the way, I can't take credit for that. It's the Jimmy Buffett margarita maker. But when Kristen bought her car, they have like a prize vault, and they said, here, when you purchase a new car, you get to go into for whatever level the car is, I guess. She got to go into this prize vault, and they said, go pick out whatever you want. And they had probably 100 things in there. And one of the things that they had in there was this Margaritaville margarita maker. And she's like, I know how you like the blended strawberry. She's not a blended fan. She likes straight margarita, the regular margarita mix and everything. But me, she knows blended. She's like, I got that for you. And this thing, I think they retail for like $200. The big one goes for 300 plus. But I think this one retails for like $250. So it was a nice little gift that she ended up getting me. So it's back here. And, it's cheeseburgers in paradise, and the Brewers are usually on the tube, and where Biggie is right now. And then it's kind of where we hang. So, and our buddy Dwayne from Dwayne's Cover It All, he's on the live stream. He said, "Yep, I've been back there. I've had those margaritas. They're really, really good." And it's true. Dwayne and I have sat back here on more than a few occasions. We've had some pizzas, we've had some burgers, we've had some brats, we've had quite a few margaritas, and sat here and smoked cigars and watched the Brewers game. So 110%. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. Matt Pauley from down in St. Louis is going to join us when we come back. We're going to talk with him, and we'll talk with him about what he sees out of not only the National League Central, but specifically out of their team. Are they now looking to be sellers as opposed to buyers? And what he just saw up close and personal regarding the Milwaukee Brewers.
Man, what a kick to the store. Hey, Matt Pauley, can you come on our show and talk about how your team just lost 4 of 5, and we're going to start the hit by asking you if your team's going to sell?
Right, I know, right? You went from maybe being a buyer to a seller, but it's a good young team that has had so far maybe a little bit better season than they thought they would have. So we'll get into that discussion when we come back. But absolutely, yeah. St. Louis fans have taken the kick to the beans, to say the very least. Hey, they want me to remind you that margaritas do flow out there as well. It's Denny's, second to National Walker's Point, also on One Road in Milwaukee. That is everyone. And on the North Shore, West Dodges Bay Road in Mequon, where they actually have the hockey rink attached to it, which is pretty cool within itself. Great wings, the same award-winning Bloody Marys. They've got them all locations. They run shuttles to whether it's the Brewers games. They just were running shuttles to Fish. They're going to be running shuttles to AC/DC. They're going to have all shuttles running to all the different festivals. Downtown this weekend, you got Bastille Days, Festa Italiana. You got coming up, the German Fest is going to be here coming up in a couple of weeks as well. And Stenny's run shuttles to it all. But also, if you're a Brewers fan, it's a great place to go. Get fed, get yourself the Bloody Mary or a beverage to go, put it on the bus. You get dropped off right there in front of American Family Field. You walk over, and boom, you're right back and let them do the drive. And that's our friends at Stenny's. You should be here.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at Marquardt RV. Go to marquardtrv.com. The host of the 2026 Big Unit Cruiser. Good to have you on board today. Whether it's a coachman out of Forest River like we have, or it's a Thor motor coach, or a travel trailer, or a fifth wheel, their service is second to none. It really is. Go to they have 8 locations throughout the great state of Wisconsin, by the way. Go to Marquardt, MARKQUART, marquardtrv.com. That is marquardtrv.com. Joining us now on the hotline down at KMOX Radio down in St. Louis, Matt Pauley is now joining us, covering the Cardinals and so much more. Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
So you just got a chance to see the Brewers up close and personal, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. But let's start with the Cardinal side of things, because it was supposed to be a really, really down year. Have they surprised you, or are they falling back down to earth, or what do you stand right now on what the Cardinals have done via the rebuild?
Yeah, they're doing kind of what I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be a little bit better than what people out there were saying. There were my callers and everybody were trying to tell me that this was going to be a 100-loss Cardinal team, and I never saw that. Now, did I think they were going to be a playoff team, anything like that? At the beginning of the season, probably not. So they've exceeded expectations a little bit, but I never thought they were going to be terrible. It does seem in some ways they're falling back to earth a little bit right now, but every time we talk about that, it seems like they go put together a good run. Before this Brewers series, they just took 4 of 6 on a road trip to Chicago and Atlanta. So they punch back out of these moments that they have. So I'll be interested to see what they do against Atlanta this weekend. But the bigger picture here is it is a rebuilding season still for the Cardinals, even if they are playing at a higher level than people expected to play at this year. And they're learning about guys. And this season, they want to win. They show up to the ballpark every day hoping to win. They would love to sneak into the playoffs this year, but they are on a path to try to get back to a place where they can be a legitimate World Series contender, and doing the things this year that can help that happen, whether it's 2-3 years down the road. I think that's more important for this team right now.
Jordan Walker has been fantastic this season. Obviously, again, last night goes yard, 22 dingers on the season, and we saw him up close and personal. I mean, you found out, like you said, some things about some of the young guys that they have. I mean, you know, like when the Brewers first started out, all they wanted to do was get back to 500, get back to winning, and then really make a push for the postseason. You're only, 3-4 games back right now in the wild card standing. So are the Cardinals sellers at this point, or are they buyers, or are they just standing pat?
I think they're going to take a little bit more time to make that decision. I know they're not going to be big buyers. Now, if they were in a playoff spot, would they do something to try to maybe help the team go get a bullpen arm, something like that? I could see them doing that. I could see them doing both things. You know, they've got a guy in Lars Nootbaar in left field. He's somebody who, you know, this past offseason, they go trade Sonny Gray and Nolan Arenado and Wilson Contreras and Brendan Donovan, all the older guys, to try to infuse young players into the organization. No matter where they're at, I could see them doing that with a Lars Nootbaar, because they've got this kid at AAA by the name of Joshua Baez who is almost ready, and there's no room in the outfield for him if Lars Nootbaar is around. So could I see a scenario where they trade a Lars Nootbaar to open up space for a young guy, but at the same time, maybe they go get a bullpen arm to help this year's team? So I don't think it's going to be the straight buy or sell if they're in a playoff spot or right around it. Now, if they continue to go poorly, if they're out of playoff contention, then they're just a straight seller, and it looks kind of the way it looked last year.
What did you think
And what do you think of the Brewers? And we were sitting here kind of contemplating, at what point, if you're the Brewers organization, do you kind of say, you know what, second best record in baseball, our nemesis has been the Dodgers. We kind of got to go for it, especially with maybe a labor lockout looming. Now's the time. And I don't think they're going to give up a ton. But outside looking in, what would you do if you're the Brewers?
I would go for it. This is the best. I thought this is the best Brewers team I've seen in their run, really, that begins with 2017. So even last year's team, even the year they got to Game 7 against the Dodgers in the NLCS, the Yelich MVP year, I have not seen a better Brewers team than what I see this year. They do not have any holes. I'm worried about the same postseason stuff for them. Do they have enough power to be successful in the postseason? That's going to be the question, because you got to be able to hit home runs. And we've seen the Brewers continually go into the postseason and not have the success and not get to the World Series. They have a legitimate chance. I know Brewers fans would love to see Tarek Skubal, and that's the national narrative. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. You would know better than I would on that. But the idea to go into a postseason series and have Mizorowski, have Skubal, and then have Kyle Harrison, that group stands up with any group in all of Major League Baseball, and that gives you a legitimate chance to be a World Series team. So it pains me a little bit as somebody who wants to see the Cardinals do well, and the Cardinals have a lot of success in the division, but I can't tell you how much I admire who this Brewers team is right now.
Yeah, I think, when we hear it from a lot of people that say, hey, you got to build it like the Brewers. You don't necessarily have to be the Dodgers and hit on everybody, and then you can't be the Mets where you spend a ton of money and you absolutely positively suck. So I know that's the way people want to build their teams now. Now, the question is, how many teams do you think are actually going to be sellers? With the wild card being 5 games or less between so many teams, I think there's only probably 6 to 8 teams that might be out of it, but more teams are looking for arms than they are looking for bats, and the Brewers are going to be looking for a bat, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's not a lot of teams that are going to be selling. That's why I think it's going to be an opportunity. If you're the Miami Marlins, and the Marlins are arguably the best team in baseball since June 1st, but the Marlins are not a World Series contender, and they've got Sandy Alcantara on that team. Do they keep Alcantara just because they want to make it to the playoffs, or do they sell him because they know that, especially in a market where there's not a lot of sellers, you're going to be able to really maximize the return? So there's not. In the National League, there's 3 teams, maybe 4 teams if you include the Reds, that are really out of it. Reds, Mets, Giants, Rockies. In the American League, it's only 2 teams really, with the Royals and the Angels. There's just not going to be very many teams that are going to be selling. So the teams that decide to go in that direction, the teams that are on the fence a little bit, do you fight for that third wild card where you're likely to be, you're not even going to have a home playoff game in all likelihood. If you get knocked out in the first round as the third wild card, it's almost like you were never in the playoffs. Is that experience worth missing out on a return? And the Cincinnati Reds would be a great team to ask that question, because last year when the Mets just fall apart, the Reds are the team that sneak into the playoffs. And what do we hear? How great this is for this young group, and getting this experience in the playoffs. This is going to pay dividends down the line. Well, they're paying dividends right now. They're 8 games under 500, 9 games out of a playoff spot. It's not doing a darn thing for them.
Well, I completely agree. It seems like what they take swings at. Now, granted, they're trying to build their farm system up, and they're happy about the draft choices they got, even like last year, but it just hasn't produced. And even bringing in Tito has not, as their manager, has not really helped that team play better. As a matter of fact, the word you get is from some of the insiders is it's just a dumb baseball team, which is why the Brewers with Pat Murphy are such an enigma. Because I watched last night, even with Jake Bauers behind home plate waving to Churio to say, hey, you got to slide to this side of the base. You got to slide at that home plate play. And he stuck his arm out and he ended up being safe. It's little things like that this team does well, where a lot of baseball teams fundamentally fall short, right?
Yeah, when you don't have huge money, you have to be able to win on the margins, and the Brewers have exponentially made that where every margin that exists, the Brewers are going to go win, and it's very impressive. They do not make mistakes very often.
So as St. Louis continues to build, how do you look at the hierarchy of
the National League Central right now. This was supposed to be an up-and-coming year for Pittsburgh, and they have played better. It was supposed to be kind of a down year for St. Louis, and people thought that they might even be last in the division. Cincinnati was supposed to be on the come, and they're absolutely positively awful. The Cubs were supposed to be great, and they're back and forth and foundering somewhat, and the Brewers were supposed to be a close second, but the Brewers have kind of ran away with the division.
Yeah, for this year specifically, I kind of think the way it looks is actually the way it is. Yes, I would expect that. I think the standings tell the story right now on who the best teams and who the worst teams are. If we take a step back and look long term, I would think those top three teams are still the teams. I'm more confident that the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be winning at a high level sooner than the Pittsburgh Pirates and sooner than the Cincinnati Reds. Until they do it, I will never believe in the Pirates and the Reds. I just don't think those are organizations that are built to win at a high level. The Brewers are keep doing their thing. The Cubs fall on their face over and over and over again, but they've got the money to back them up. And if they didn't have the injuries they had this year, I suspect that their record would be better than it is. But I mean, they're fine. They're 52-41. That's a good Chicago team. So I don't know. There's a lot of dudes on the Pirates and the Reds who I really like. A lot of really very, very good baseball players who I would love to see playing for other teams. But from a team standpoint, I can't go all in on the Pirates or the Reds.
How is the transparency with the Cardinals organization and their fans when it comes to, hey, this is what we have going on. This is what we want you to do. Can you hang in there with us?
It's awesome now under Chaim Bloom. It was not awesome under John Mozeliak. They were not transparent at all during the last regime. And from the moment Chaim Bloom took over as president of baseball operations, he has told the fans 100% the truth, exactly where the organization is, what they're going to do. On his first ever press conference, he said, if there's a decision in front of us, and if we go one way, it's going to benefit the long term, and one way it's going to benefit the short term, we're going with the long-term path. Like, there's never been any doubt whatsoever with what the plan is for this team. And Chaim Bloom has gone on every radio show, every podcast, every TV show. Oliver Marmol does much the same. There is so much communication going on. Ollie does a half-hour show on our station every week, and we have it on StreamYard where he sees the comments coming in and addresses the fans as he sees those comments coming in. Some of them are pretty mean-spirited. So there is a ton of transparency right now in this organization.
So that being said, because when the Brewers tore it down some years back, they just said, hey, everybody, this is what's going to happen. This is hopefully when we turn it around. Here you go. So in that sense, I agree with you. I think if the transparency is there, the fans buy in. Is Ollie the guy to take them to that next step?
I think so. I really like him a lot. Now, there's going to be a point in time where this team is ready to win, and if they don't win, then it is going to come back on him. But he's doing everything that he can do as a manager. He has never been given teams to win at a high level. There's algorithms and things out there that say what your record should be and what your relief pitching number should be and all that. The Cardinals always outperform that. Run differential versus record, all the things that would indicate whether or not he's a good manager indicate he's a very good manager. The club loves him. The players love playing for him. And he's also very blunt. Like, this is not a guy who's just going to roll over. Players know exactly where they stand with Marmol. So I'm a big fan of his. I take some grief from Cardinals fans sometimes because they're mixed on him, but I'm definitely an Ollie Marmol guy.
Well, that's the thing is that, as we sit here, our guy, Pat Murphy, he's an old boxer. He's an old college coach, and he doesn't matter if you're a veteran or if you're a young guy. This is the way we want to play baseball. And if you don't, he doesn't mind sitting you down. Even in the middle of an inning, he has sat guys down. So that's kind of sometimes the culture you need. But we talk so much about culture all the time about you have to have it in the clubhouse before it even hits the field. And it sounds like that's the direction the Cardinals are going.
Yeah, I think so. And here's the thing. Pro athletes, they get to the highest level, not because they've been coddled, but because they've been challenged. And they're not afraid of being challenged. That's something that I hear it all the time where people think that being a player's manager or a player's coach means you're rolling over for guys. That's not what you're doing. The players want to play for somebody that helps make them better, because if you're better, you're also going to make more money. You're going to win more. Like, I've never understood the fan sentiment that they think that some of these guys in leadership positions are rolling over for players. Players want individuals who can make them better.
Matt, great stuff as always. Hey, say hi to my buddy down there, Mark Reardon, because he's a good guy and I miss him, man.
I see Mark almost every day. I'll let him know.
Tell him I said hi. Matt, appreciate you. We'll talk again soon, pal.
You bet. Thanks.
Thanks, bud. There you go. Matt Pauley from KMOX Radio down there in St. Louis, joining us for a couple of minutes. And they're trying to build it. It sounds like he said, you want to be what the Brewers are. And when was the last time, I mean, other than in recent history, obviously, when was the last time people said, I want to do it like the Brewers? Think about that for a minute. I want to do it like the Brewers. When we come back, I got a whole slew of text messages off the text line. If you're trying to get a hold of us via the text line, I apologize for not getting to you until now. We'll get to some of the text messages coming up because there's a whole boatload of them that I want to get to. We'll talk some more Brewers baseball. We'll get to the text messages, some of the emails as well. We are broadcasting live out here at the Tiki Bar today, enjoying ourselves. Fresh margaritas have been poured, good cigar alongside. I have not made anything to eat. I'm not hungry. I was going to grill out, but I'm not really that hungry. So, well, whatever. So, anyway, that being said, this portion of our program brought to you by our friends down there at German. Are you ready? Are you ready to do a little festing? I know there's some festing going on right now. There's Bastille Days in Milwaukee. You've got Festa Italiana. You're going to have Irish Fest coming up. But German Fest, July 24th, 25th, and 26th. It is coming up. It is coming up. And 2 weeks from yesterday, we are actually going to be down at the Fest grounds and going to be down there hanging out and doing our show live down there as we get ready with the Oompa music. So we're so excited about all of this, working in partnership with German Fest again this year. But German Fest, July 24th, 25th, and 26th, for all the admission kind of benefits you can get and all the deals that you have getting in there, or maybe just more information on German Fest in regards to the Milwaukee tradition, go to GermanFest.com. That is GermanFest.com. That is the Milwaukee tradition. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella-certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's that kind of day. It's beautiful. It's up to 84 degrees. The sun is out. The birds are chirping. The construction workers out front, I guess, have taken a break. I don't hear the backup beepers going off anymore. We have used the margarita machine, and we've made a margarita. We're in the Tiki Bar. Old school MTV is on right now. I don't even know who the hell's on the screen right now. But going back to the 80s, 90s, and 2000s when they used to just play music and music videos, that's up and running. We've had everything from Britney Spears to Biggie Smalls behind us. Saw some Rolling Stones, saw some Doors, and then saw some newer stuff. Saw Third Eye Blind. And the Rembrandts were up there a little while ago. I did see during the commercial break. It's just a good day. Just a really, really good day. As a matter of fact, shout out to my buddy John Ewert, who is with Road America. He's watching today. He said, I just absolutely love the Tiki setup today. So it just feels like a Friday, like a vacation day. We're sitting here in the midst of summer now. Get out and enjoy it. Another place to do so is Smoke on the Water, BBQ Okachi. Here's the weekend preview coming up. Fish Fry Friday today. Braves and Pirates, that's going on. Tomorrow, smoked prime rib and the smoked old fashions. And then tomorrow they have World Cup soccer. They've got Norway and England, Argentina and Switzerland. And then the 3:05 first pitch, the Brewers and the Pirates on Saturday. Sunday, they're open for lunch, the Brewers and the Pirates. They got a smoked half chicken special. They got the bourbon flight going on for which is Michter's, the unblended, Blade and Bow, and the Old Fitzgerald, all coming up this Sunday with the Old Bourbon Bar, too. Oh, such good stuff out there. It's Smoke on the Water, BBQ Okachi. And for all the social media platforms, Smoke on the Water, BBQ Okachi, Okauchee. Smoke on the Water, BBQ Okachi, and that's how you find them. But just a lot of good stuff going on this weekend out there. So good stuff. Let's do this. We're at the top of the hour. I thought about this, Grant. So since we're in the Jimmy Buffett mode today, I had went through and I started looking for pictures to remind me of times because there's some things that stand out in my mind. So I've got the top 5 and I got a tie for the top 1. So it's actually 6, but I couldn't decide between the two. So I said, the hell with it, I'm going to put them both up there. I got the top 5 moments in the parking lots at all the Jimmy Buffett concerts I've ever been to. And I've been to like 30 of them. Out of all the concerts, I'll tell you the experiences of the top 5 when we come back. That should throw you right into the mood for some summertime stuff as well. So there you go. We are broadcasting live in a Tiki Bar, baby. Yeah. There's a shot of where we are and kind of the behind the scenes with all the wires and the cords and everything. But there we are, waving underneath it. How are we looking? Stay tuned. We got more coming up next.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Zone Update.
Well, the Brewers are in Pittsburgh. It's where they're going to open up a series against the Pirates tonight. It's the last one before the All-Star break. Milwaukee comes in a season-best 25 games above 500 after taking 4 or 5 from St. Louis. Well, Pittsburgh sitting at 500 on the year, but the Crew going to face several stiff challenges on the mound over the next 3 days, including tonight against Braxton Ashcraft. He's 9-3 this year with a 3.24 ERA. He definitely has the attention of Brewers manager Pat Murphy.
Tough one. We got one of the best pitchers in the game. Maybe the most underrated pitcher in the game. Is he going to the All-Star game, Ashcraft? He's good, man. This guy's really good. So we got him and we got Skeens on Sunday. Those are 2 of the best in the game. So get in between one of the top prospects in the game. So and the Pirates have played great baseball. And and we're at their place and the whole thing. So we got to keep playing well on the road.
Milwaukee's pitching lineup features Brandon Sproat going tonight and Shane Jorhan going on Saturday. Then on Sunday, he'll be 2 of the best young pitchers in baseball with Jacob Mizrowski on the mound versus the reigning Cy Young Award winner and Paul Skeens. First pitch for tonight's game comes at 5:45. Meanwhile, the Major League Baseball draft is this weekend. First 4 rounds are tomorrow, with the other 15 happening on Sunday. The Brewers' first pick comes tomorrow at number 25.
Truck drivers, are you looking for a career that offers more opportunities? Find out why Schneider stands above the others. In addition to offering the widest selection of home time options, Schneider's safety focus protects drivers. From advanced safety technology on all trucks to giving drivers complete control to determine when it's safe to drive, Schneider delivers. New to trucking, Schneider offers company-paid CDL training and tuition reimbursement options to help you get started. Join a carrier that makes your safety its priority. Search driving jobs near you at schneiderjobs.com.
Well, the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas got underway last night. The Bucks making their debut today as they face off against the Heat. And the Packers just 19 days away from opening up training camp. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Hopefully, you're enjoying your day. We have had a spectacular day, for sure, and it has been just so much fun, and I'm glad that you've kind of enjoyed the day. That's a look at the Tiki Bar post. That's just next to the bar here. If you're looking upwards, it is a blue sky. It's just it is kind of a weird white balance. It's not a gray sky. It's a crystal clear blue sky with the sun almost piercing into the camera at this point. And it makes it look a little gray, but it's actually picture perfect blue. And welcome back to the program. We got more coming up here, bottom of the hour. We'll talk to Mike Renner from CBS Sports, talk a little NFL. Brewers, are they in that mode? Is it time to make a move? Is it time? Is this it? Do you feel really good? By the way, just after the top of the hour, that's when all of a sudden the workers started. They took their lunch hour from noon to 1. And then at 1:01, all of a sudden, there you go again. So you might hear the backup beepers all over again outside. That was the only thing I didn't bank on today was the construction work still going on out in front of the house. You want to get a hold of us? 877-867-1670, 608-321-1670. I got text messages to get to, and I promise you I will. If you want to watch us and see where we're at today at the Tiki Bar, go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Find us on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. Find Grant at Wisco Grant. Our app, which is awesome to listen to us, to watch us, all that kind of good stuff. Wisco Sports Zone, WISCO, Wisco Sports Zone. 3 words, put them all together, download us. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. TheBillMichaels.com is the website. And then you can follow all the videos and all the shorts and all that kind of stuff that we do over on Facebook, on Instagram. You can follow us live there as well. TikTok also. The Bill Michaels Show. And then same thing on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app. And you can catch the show, the television show, in Milwaukee on My24 TV, 8 o'clock Central Time in Milwaukee on Saturday nights. So there you go. All right. So we've done so much. By the way, you don't have to call us construction workers, Bill. We are used to people calling us the help. Well, but you are creating construct. I mean, is that a kinder word, calling you the help? I'm making it sound like the help, like you're sitting there working for me, waiting to wipe my rear end when I come out of the bathroom. I don't want to call you the help. The guys that are rebuilding the infrastructure of America, the backbone of what it is we do, we drive on, what we depend on each and every day. Can I go in that direction? Can I call you that? Can I go there? So, right? That might not be a bad way to go. Let's do that. So in honor of the top 5, we didn't do a Bill's Best yesterday, but in honor of being out here today, the top 5, actually 6 things that I have witnessed in the parking lots from traveling around in the parking lots. And I actually came up with a 7th while I was sitting here because I'm thinking one of the most memorable things that ever happened to me on the river, and I'll tell you that too, in the parking lots or on the river at a Jimmy Buffett concert. Here we go with the top 5.
All right, let's do this. If I'm going to put them in the hierarchy of lists, we're going to get into the power rankings. Power rankings, that's the top 10 right there at number 10. Number 6, number 2, and number 1. There's no rules here. Just enjoy it. So here we go. There you go. So the number one thing that I think I ever saw was, as far as making margaritas go, comes in at number 5.
and a guy had gallons of the margarita mix. He had 3 full bottles, big bottles, handles of Patron. He threw in 2 20-pound bags of ice in a big giant steel clean garbage can, and he hooked up an outboard motor to it and started it up, and that's how they made and mixed margaritas. Now, I don't know how good it was because I didn't taste it, but remember, outboard motors cool themselves by sucking in water that they're flowing through and spitting it back out. I don't know what that would taste like, rolling through an engine like that.
So it was seasoned, is
yes.
what you're telling me.
Yes, it was seasoned, but it churned the hell out of a strawberry margarita, and it looked good, but I was like, nah, I don't know if I'm going to take an old 1978 Evinrude outboard motor and make a margarita with it, but it was ingenuity at its finest. But he had a steel garbage can, he had a gas can sitting on the ground with one of the bubble pumps, primed it, pulled that thing, boom, fired right up, turned it up, and there was margarita stuff floating in the air and getting on the girls and the whole thing, but he churned out, I don't know how many gallons, but it was a lot of margarita mix, I'll tell you that right now. It was a lot. It filled up it had to be, God, it was a small bucket. It was just a regular garbage can, old steel garbage can. And he filled it probably halfway up. So, and people were just coming by and dipping cups in it, for free strawberry margarita mixes. So that was cool. I saw that. That was number 5. Number 4. There was never a good Jimmy Buffett party outside the parking lot, unless, of course, you had the boob sizer. Some men got that back there and did it, but you had a giant piece of plywood that had painted faces, and it was decorative and such. And then you had small holes, medium-sized holes, and large holes. And I guess after they came from drinking the margarita out of a garbage can, that's where they sized things up. Some of the lovely beauties that happened to be walking through the parking lot. There was one woman, I'll never forget, that threw them through there. It looked like 2 kosher hams hanging in a deli window, but she got them through. But what you didn't realize is that you could have also rated the length at that point. But nevertheless, the boob sizer was always something that was there. Then there was the Plinko boards. Grant, have you ever been to a Buffett concert where they had the Plinko board?
Yes, sir.
They do that at Packers games, too. The Plinko board is famous, and depending on what you have written on the bottom of that thing, it usually is pretty frisky, but the Plinko board is awesome. And I saw one, they had it on the side of an RV. So you had to climb up on top of the RV to drop your Plinko chip. That's how big this Plinko board was. It was huge, huge. And it was an amazing Plinko board. So the Plinko board that was on the side of an RV, that was pretty enormous. Then these two really always kind of got me because there was one where 2 pickup trucks backed up to one another and put the tailgates down on one another. And then in between the sides, they put a piece of plywood on each side. And then they pulled out tarps, these big giant 100-foot tarps, and laid them back there. And then I don't know if it was something they paid for or a buddy of theirs parked next to them and had a water truck. And they dumped the water into the liner and they made a pool. And you could go swimming. They actually had like little ladders up to the sides of their trucks. You could jump in the pool from the water trucks out in the parking lot. Now, how they got rid of that after it was all said and done, I can only imagine it created quite a sloppy mess. But that's how they filled the trucks, was with a water truck parked next to them with just water. And they made swimming pools out of their trucks. So that was a unique thing. And it almost, I think on the one was kind of a really piece of crap truck. And I think it either did or came really close to busting the shocks or something on that truck because you could hear it pop when they filled it. But yeah, they filled it and turned it into a pool. They probably had 10, 15 people swimming around in the back of that thing. It was amazing. Never seen anything like it. Then this one was kind of interesting because there's a fire truck in, I think, East Troy that the guy converted into a foam cannon. So it's a fire truck that has one of those extension ladders on it that on the top of it where the hose would be, it turns it into a foam cannon. And this guy, he was probably parked next to us, probably maybe 5 spaces, 6 spaces down. And he started putting out the foam. And, everybody runs through it. The girls love to run through it and everything. But the foam kept going and going and going. And it was piling up and piling up. And it finally got as tall as the truck. And people were running into it. The problem was there was a couple of people that ran into it and never came out. Here, they hit each other and knocked each other out inside this big mountain of foam. And they had to bring EMTs to get them out because they had ingested whatever it was, whatever the foam was. I can only imagine it's dishwashing soap or something. I don't know. But they had to drag them out of there because nobody could find them. And they never came out of the foam, this giant mountain of foam. And they had to get them. And I don't know if they had to resuscitate them or what they had to do or just kind of give them some smelling salts to wake up. But they ran into each other. A guy and a girl ran into each other in different directions. Bang, right in the middle, and never came out. And everybody kept running through there going, I'm tripping on something. And here was the 2 bodies of the people that were laying under the foam because of the foam cannon. And they knocked each other out. So I'll never forget that. They had to have a foam cannon rescue. So then there's another one that I saw that's right there with the foam cannon. And I saw baby pools that they brought, and they filled it with green Jell-O. Now, green Jell-O, when it's cold, is good. I'm not a lime fan, but okay, whatever. But green Jell-O in the heat is nasty. And they had Jell-O wrestling. And they had one guy that looked like a mountain of a human being. If you wrestled him and you won, you got to do as many shots as you wanted. Or if he won, then you had to take a piece of clothing off. So the girls were jumping in there and wrestling this guy. And then I've seen girls wrestle girls, dudes wrestle dudes. But lime green, baby pool, like big fold-up baby pool, like not the little plastic ones, the big pool that you can walk around in. Jell-O wrestling at the Jimmy Buffett concerts. The last one, the most memorable to me, I was probably 24 years old, and there's a place in Cincinnati called Riverbend Music Theater, which is kind of like the Marcus on the lakefront, the Marcus Theater on the lakefront. And it's right on the river, and when Jimmy Buffett would come, he would play like 5 sold-out shows. So we went up there on a Saturday night. We took my boat, which my boat at the time was only a 20-foot cuddy cabin boat. And it was me and a couple of friends, and we went up, and we tied up with about 30 other boats. So you're just walking boat to boat to boat to boat to boat to boat. The amount of garbage that was left on my boat, I was like the dumping ground, basically. It was, I think, like 6 or 7 hefty bags of garbage. That's not the most memorable part, because you could hear the concert. It was great. We all partied. We're all on the boats and the whole thing. And then you go back, and we had our boat docked in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. So we go all the way back down to Lawrenceburg. We get off, and I just slept on the boat. I just was like, okay, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to sleep on the boat. I got up the next day. There's some kids fishing, and we were carrying all the liquor and all the empties off of the boat at the time. And the bag broke, and all these beers fell out. This kid was probably 14. For lack of a better term, maybe this hillbilly kid, I'm being kind, like shoved me to get to the beers as I'm carrying these bags, and I fell off the dock in between where they had slip rock, where they had like old cement sidewalks that they had broken up, and that's what they used to make sure that the shore would stay there at the marina. And I fell between them, and I ended up snapping my leg. I broke my leg coming home from the Jimmy Buffett concert. So all because some kid wanted to go after a couple of, I think they were Miller Lights or Coors Lights or something at the time that my buddy had, and the bag broke and all the Coors Lights or whatever fell out, and he shoved me over. And so that was a great memory and a bad memory all rolled into one. But those are like the top moments ever, hanging out in the parking lots and getting to see what you see at what was once Jimmy Buffett concerts. And the cool thing was I saw families bring kids, I saw them bring teenagers, I saw them bring adults, elderly adults. It was a party for everybody. And I miss that. I really do. We were ready for Buffett to come back, and then obviously he passed away. But some of the best memories of the Jimmy Buffett concerts and what we saw in the parking lots. That is my top 7 by the time it's all said and done. But that's the experiences. So there you go. That's the Bills' best of the Jimmy Buffett concerts. The foam cannon was fantastic. I'll never forget that, because you just had people running through it, just big white marshmallows running up and down in between all the RVs, which was hilarious. So there you go. That's the top memories You got any from Buffett at all?
Well, the only time I saw him was at Target Field in the Twin Cities. So we didn't do the tailgate because we were going to see him at Alpine, I think probably the same show you were going to go to. And then it was rained out, it was stormed out, and we didn't make the makeup show.
Right.
So I only saw him at Target Field, a little bit of a different crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, it was friggin' awesome to see, the songs I grew up listening to and everything. But I think I was maybe like 18 at the time. We weren't even drinking beers. We were trying to figure out maybe a way. Could we, pull one past one of the beverage vendors in the park? We're like, no,
right.
It's not worth getting thrown out for what? Because we wanted to share a Coors Light quickly before an usher noticed or something.
Yeah,
just not worth the squeeze.
Yep, I get it. So that was my memories as we sit out here today in the Tiki Bar, and what probably would have been maybe an approaching weekend concert date coming up at Alpine, because he usually came in either July or August. So we would have been coming up on an Alpine date at some point here. But I must have seen between Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, obviously Wisconsin. I saw the show at Wrigley. Probably seen maybe 30 of them, 20 to 30 of them easy. So anyway, but thanks for bearing with us for the 15 minutes. There you go. Good stuff. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Coming up bottom of the hour, Mike Renner from CBS Sports is going to be joining us, and we'll talk a little NFL. We got some more Brewers stuff to get to. I'm not going to forget anybody. The text messages have been coming in. The emails have been coming in. I'll get to all of them, I promise you, when we come back. So we'll get into all of that stuff as well. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Epoxy Flooring Done Right, whether it's an epoxy floor or polyurea coating, basements, gyms, rec rooms, garages, you name it, he can do it. Hell, even patios, for that matter. Even patios. So they can take the weather and you just wash them right off and you're good to go. That's epoxyflooringdoneright.com. And he, from Green Bay to Milwaukee, out to Madison, everything in between, he can do anything. He can do a lot of the polyurea coatings, the epoxy coatings, and make them look like something. If you want to make them blue, like it's water running through your house or something, they can do that. They can do all of that cool stuff. Check out epoxyflooringdoneright.com or call Sean directly, 262-443-2852, 262-443-2852. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We are now open in Madison. Stand by for details on how much it costs to borrow $1,000 from Dollar Loan Center. We offer signature loans up to $5,000 in minutes, and you don't need great credit or collateral. No checking account required, no application fees, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. So if you need $1,000, it'll only cost you $7.56 per day. You can keep it out for a week, a month, a year. That's up to you. For new customers, the first week's interest is even on us. Give DLC a shot. You'll be glad you did. Visit us in Madison or Beloit, and DLC is now open in Janesville, Beaver Dam, and coming soon to Sun Prairie.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. Amounts based on biweekly pay frequency with take percent rate of 275%. For additional cost information, call 866-550-4352. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. We have got some breaking news regarding the Bucs, and it's funny because I couldn't say anything yesterday. Jim Ozarski and I were talking about this after we got off the air yesterday, but it has now become official. All of the Milwaukee Bucks games for the upcoming 2026-27 season will be broadcast over the air. Over the air. My 24 television, which also has the Bill Michaels Show, by the way. My 24 TV, which is had kind of a commitment between them and the CW18. They had a commitment to sports programming, and they carry the Bill Michaels Show. And they have now did a partnership with Rincon Broadcasting Group. All of the 2026-27 season for the Milwaukee Bucks are going to air over the air. My 24 first serves the over-the-air broadcast home of the Bucks from 88 through 94. Viewers in the Milwaukee area can watch the Bucks again over the air on My 24 TV and most major cable systems and YouTube TV as well during the 2026-27 season. Now, they're going to take this statewide to other affiliates as well. The season marks an exciting return to our roots as we bring back Bucks basketball to full season over-the-air television for the first time in more than 3 decades. The Bucks and the Fiserv Forum president John Glessing said, "We're grateful to our partners at Rincon Broadcasting Group for helping us make the Bucks games more accessible to fans throughout Wisconsin." The Bucks are, and now here you go, because they don't have the FanDuel network anymore, so they had to go somewhere. And when you start to talk to the networks, Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, they've got programming at night locally that they don't want to bounce. They're not going to get rid of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, or any of these other shows that they put a lot of money into affiliate-wise. So you kind of
take Wheel of Fortune off the air.
Yeah, so you figured you're not going to take those stations off. So who was left? And My 24 TV stepped up. We're one of the key cogs in their broadcast group when it comes to airing our television show on Saturday nights. And now we're going to be floating once Bucks season gets there, because Saturday nights are probably going to have some Bucks basketball, which maybe helps us a little bit in regards to other sports viewership. But yeah, so My 24 TV in conjunction with Rincon Broadcasting is going to broadcast over the air all of the Milwaukee Bucks games this season. So no longer do you have to have cable. If you've got over the air, you're probably going to have a station in your area that you're going to be able to pick up over the air and be able to watch Milwaukee Bucks basketball. So there you go. As far as what channel it is for Madison, I don't know. They're selling it right now. They're getting it out to other markets. I don't know yet, but I know that they just announced in conjunction with My 24 TV, Rincon Broadcasting, it'll go out throughout the rest of the state. They will be putting out to over-the-air TV to all the other major markets. So that's huge. The Bucks are going to air all of their games on over-the-air TV this year for the first time in decades. And not only did My 24 TV get the Bill Michaels Show, but now they're really big time because they have the Milwaukee Bucks. That is huge. That is huge. Just announced. So you know. Okay, I want to do this because I have not gotten to all of you that have been texting us and emailing us, and I know we got Mike Renner coming up here shortly, so I want to get into some of this. By the way, out of the 608 earlier when Ebo was talking about losing his cup, he said it was either Kate or the janitor. If it was Kate, She knocked it off, maybe the studio desk, taking a nap or something. And if it was the janitor, he might have knocked it off when he was sweeping. Either way, it's probably in the trash, broken to a million pieces like his heart. Hope not. Was Kate in the studio, Grant? At any point over the last 24 hours?
Kate doesn't come to work, Bill. She appears sometimes for events and such, but no, I haven't seen Kate in like a week and a half.
Okay, just checking. Well, then we can eliminate Kate.
Or maybe she has been here and she should be a suspect.
And she could, well, I'm a suspect. She's a suspect. Put it that way. I get it. Hey, Bill, just curious, but can the Brewers talk to Skubal before they trade for him? Talk extension? If they can and get him to sign a deal, then yes, absolutely go for it. The guys in the minors are most likely blocked by the stars in the majors right now. You can't necessarily get a deal done, but you could probably, there's always a way to kind of, through an agent or whatever, you can always say, hey, what are you looking for? Or what, maybe talk to the team and say, hey, what is he looking for? Have you gotten an idea? Because they'll tell you, they'll know. And if there's a team that's willing to pay him, then that's an area that he's obviously going to be willing to go to. So they'll know. Absolutely. As far as going for it, Monona Steve says, if not now, when? That I can agree with. Out of the 920, Mike in Appleton says, love the vibe this Friday. Keep the Jimmy Buffett rolling. Anyway, great segment here. In my opinion, this team has the core pieces that would be World Series worthy. It is the time. I do believe that the lineup needs a little bit more power, another power hitter to help generate the run production. Last year in the playoffs, the lineup just wasn't enough to scare quality pitching, and it showed. Could the pitching be enhanced a bit? Sure. But to me, that's icing on a very nice existing cake. Mike in Appleton. Stephen Richfield, do you think that Garrett Mitchell or Sal Frelick would be made available for a deal? Garrett Mitchell, yes. Sal Frelick, no. We talked about that a little bit earlier, too. Todd and Holman. Bill, absolutely correct on going all in this year. When will we have a better opportunity than this? My initial thoughts would be, if we're going to go all in, we should look at trading some of our inactives since they aren't really contributing to our current success anyway. Is your goal winning it all? And it just makes sense not to trade away any of the current players that have proven themselves this year. Andrew Painter from the Phillies, struggling this year, looks like to be a couple of small tweaks away from unlocking something very comparable to Miz. Put him in the lab, then let's let him eat. Thanks. That's out of the 608. Aaron in Marshfield says, does Murphy seem like a guy who actually fights to keep who he has and somewhat resists major roster change because he's such a dad? Yes, he fights for his guys, but I think ultimately he wants to win too. I mean, that's what it's all about. He talks about that all the time. Out of the 920, Sean in Green Bay. Hey, Bill, I get a little tired of the woe is me, we will never win mentality that some Brewers fans have. This team is absolutely capable of winning a World Series, as was last year's team. They simply have to play at their best baseball in October. Can't have the offense go to sleep again or have your best player over the last decade go MIA when it matters the most. With that being said, there are a few positions that could be shored up. Another starting pitcher and a legitimate slugging third baseman both come to mind, Sean in Green Bay. Let's see here. Out of the 920, hey, Bill, you're making my 15-year-old son's ride in the truck very amusing with the Buffett Power Rankings. He said, what the hell is Bill Michaels on today? We're on margaritas and fun. That's what we're on today. No slurring of the words. I'm not hammered. Nothing like that. But just we're having fun today. Come outside. It's, we're going into the All-Star break, for God's sakes. We got the last weekend of baseball before we go to the All-Star break. So, hell yeah. Nate and Osceola, hey, unit, would the Astros be interested in Cooper, Yelly, and a mid-level for their DH? I'd be all in. Shell Lake Nate. There you go. Shell Lake Nate.
Can you say that one more time? What did he just ask?
He wanted to know if they would be all in for Cooper Pratt, Christian Yelich, and a mid-level for their DH, who is raking right now, Shell Lake Nate. I wouldn't give that up.
You wouldn't give that up for Yordan Alvarez?
Nope. You're giving up Cooper Pratt and another draft and another guy out of your minor league system? Because Cooper Pratt's your future at shortstop. You've got Bryce Terang, and then you're going to have Mate coming up. You've got your infield solidified if you decide to pay Bryce Terang for quite some time. You're going to have Andrew Vaughn. He's going to be around. Bowers is going to be around. The only guy that you're going to be giving up here soon is Contreras. And your outfield is pretty set. I don't think I'd diminish my... Now, again... You could put Joey Ortiz back at short. Hamilton goes back over to third, and I get it for this year, but are you going to pay Ortiz? I don't think so. That means Mate would be your shortstop of the future. You'd still have a power hitter, yes. I don't disagree with that. The Yelich thing, I would agree with. If you go with if you trade Yelich and another minor leaguer, I'd do it. I just don't think I'd put Pratt in that mix. If you wouldn't have to, I'd go with another higher end, lower level guy, and give them the controllability to say, "Here you go." Because remember, Cooper Pratt's under contract. I wouldn't give up that contract. Make sense?
No, that makes sense. I understand.
I wasn't sure. That's okay.
I think I would trade 3 Cooper Pratts for Yordan Alvarez, but that's just a
really
difference
okay.
with me. I think Cooper Pratt's good. I think he's fine. I think Yordan Alvarez is. I don't know. Here's the thing. This is my frustration as Brewers fans. Well, it's time to go for it, and then they're confronted with what it would actually cost to go get somebody. They're like, well, you can't give. You can't give away the farm. It's going to be expensive.
Because of Cooper Pratt's contract, it makes him very attractive. If indeed he ends up being what everybody expects him to be. But then again, that becomes a real bonus for the Brewers too. But if you believe in Mate and you believe in what you have down in the minor league system, and Cooper Pratt is a guy that you would have to put as that last chip into it. First of all, you'd never get it because I don't think Yelich would go there. But if you would have to do it, I would do it. But I would probably offer other things first before I try to get rid of Cooper Pratt, because you know what the future is going to hold and what your team's going to look like coming up in the next 2 years. And he's going to be one of your cornerstone pieces. But if you got to do it, and I agree with you, if you got to do it, then yes. Would that be my first inkling? No. But if it came down to that and they said, hey, we're going to give you this, but we have to have Cooper Pratt, then I would acquiesce. I would do that.
All right, I see that.
Aaron says, I challenge anybody to give me one good reason not to go all in this year. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather. We're going to our place up north later today. It'll be perfect in the Northwoods this weekend. There you go. That's from Aaron as well, coming out of the email side of things. And our buddy Steve says, nice bounce back by the crew. A couple of home runs were a pleasant surprise. All that kind of good stuff. Good to see Logan Henderson back in the rotation as well. Pitched pretty well. Chad Patrick, too, except for the one mistake. Let's get the series win against the Pirates, and then the first half is complete. That's our buddy Stephen Richfield. All right, when we come back, Mike Renner from CBS Sports, the draft analyst, is going to be joining us. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We're not done yet on a Tiki Bar Friday.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The Packers are one of those teams where I go, I know they're going to be good, but like, it's how good? Is it going to be 10-7? We just get in the playoffs good? Or can they turn the corner and play more consistent football and Jordan Love consistently play at a high level to where they can be 12-5, 13-4? And that's the big thing with the Packers. We felt like they were going that way last year, and then they lost that game in Denver and everything changed.
Chris Sims talking about the Green Bay Packers and can they put the consistency together? That's the big question for this team. Can they do it? Can they overcome themselves at times, as we saw last year, especially in the second half of ball games? It wasn't for the fact that they weren't ready to go. It was just the fact that they weren't ready to go in the second half of ball games, and they snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory in a couple of different instances. Mike Renner, CBS Sports, joining us, the NFL and the draft analyst on the hotline. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Bill. Thanks for having me.
In this dead period, basically, everybody starts talking about all the different numbers and the comparisons and the rankings and everything, and then we argue over all of that stuff because we got nothing to talk about until the season gets here. But do you like what the Packers did via the draft? Do you like the fact that they kind of bolstered the offensive front, the defensive front a little bit?
I do, and I like the players they got. It was really a targeted draft, I'd say, because this is a very good football team. I think when they were healthy last year, this was arguably one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the NFL. They were right there with teams like the Seahawks and Rams in the NFC. It's just, obviously, when the injury struck and that clip I heard, I was getting frustrated because it's like, yeah, it was the Broncos game, but the Broncos game was when they lost their 2 best players that weren't Jordan Love. They lost Zach Tom, they lost Micah Parsons. No team's going to be able to survive losses like that. So this was a very, very good football team that just needed to address, nose tackle, cornerback. They got those positions in the draft. It's really going to come down to how those guys, how ready they are, and how ready to develop the rest of kind of their rookie contract guys, the first rounders that are still young, how ready those guys are to see big time. Because LVN, Jordan Morgan, Matthew Golden, if those guys hit, if those guys flourish, all of a sudden this is a very different football team than even we saw last year.
So, okay, let me start with Jordan Love, because there was this discussion of how good he is and the numbers he puts up, and I get all of that. And when you look at his numbers in a clean pocket, he's an assassin. That's the term that's being used. When you look at him in a non-clean pocket, on the run, on a rush, he's not as good, but his numbers were great. His touchdown, interception, the whole thing. So you tell me what you need to see out of Jordan Love that makes him next level.
I think it is just that consistency under pressure. And now last year was difficult because the offensive line was so banged up and you had so many different combinations that it's hard to put a number to a guy's mindset. When he's like, when you're on your third string guard and a backup tackle, it's like, okay, it's hard to put a number to how much that plays into how much that's going to affect the quarterback in his play. So last year, I don't want to say throw it out the window, but like he has to have more confidence that even when your offensive line's overmatched, that he's still going to be able to get the job done, because that's when it really snowballed for him last year. So I think that's it, because like you said, clean pockets, when he knew, when he faced poor pass rushes and he knew he was going to have time, he was confident, downfield passer, as much as anyone was in the NFL last season, probably outside of Matt Stafford. So I'm very excited to see what a next step looks like for him, because I do think he has improved, even from the year prior. Like, you've seen improvement in ways of Jordan Love's game pretty much every single year. And I think that's going to only continue the more he plays.
I guess consistency is the word that keeps coming up, that they need to see more consistency out of Jordan Love. They need to see him not only have a great first half, but then don't fall off the table in the second half. And I completely agree. Because we've seen this where they have a great game, then the next game, they all of a sudden can't move the football and they can't figure out how to get the offense going. I understand the injuries played a part of that last year. The offensive line was in flux a lot last year. That's the only thing I think that's maybe, I don't want to say lacking from his game, but needs to be elevated in his game. It's just a consistency with which he plays, right?
And I wonder if the Packers, and I completely agree with that, I wonder if the Packers this offseason, getting rid of Romeo Doubs, getting rid of Dontavian Wicks, getting rid of Doubs, letting him walk, I wonder if that was intentional in saying, we want to tighten up this receiving core, not have him, 6-7 guys that he has to develop a rapport with. Keep it with a tight three. Those guys play the majority of the snaps. We're not going to be subbing nearly as much as we were. And maybe that's what is going to get Jordan Love to take the next step in terms of his consistency, is having that rapport with a tighter depth chart at wide receiver, that he knows where those guys are going to be at any given play and is not having to learn how each one of 6 different guys this certain route. I think that might be what ends up helping Jordan Love take the next step, and what the Packers are hoping helps him do that.
What do you think of Matt LaFleur as a play caller?
I think he's an incredible game planner in terms of his ability to draw plays, and specifically draw plays for the defenses he's facing. I think he gets tight at times in big situations. I think that maybe is his biggest knock, but it's really, you're picking nits with a guy like that. It's just that, like, he probably isn't Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay level, right? He's probably not that level of play caller. He's just a tier below, and that's fine. It's why you're not getting rid of him, despite, the consistent struggles we see in the playoffs. But I think he's a very, very good one nonetheless.
The division itself is really tightened up. I mean, I still think talent pound for pound, I still think Detroit is probably maybe the best team in the division. The Packers could be close. I don't know what the ascension is going to look like continuously with Chicago. And certainly if Kyler Murray can give you an entire season over in Minneapolis, maybe that changes things for them. But you tell me what you see in this division.
It's interesting because it was, one of the best divisions ever last year, right? Every team finished above 500. I think that was only the second time that's ever happened. So it's one of the most competitive divisions of all time. But offseason, it seemed like across the board pretty much was a belt tightening offseason. No one really went out and said, I'm going to make this move to take the next step. It really was just the Vikings who kind of fell backwards into getting Kyler Murray on that, vet min deal by happenstance. But even him, it's like, he hasn't been a franchise quarterback or like a guy that would really elevate a team to top of the NFC North in 5 years, probably since 2021. So there's really no one that made the next step, which means it's going to have to come from kind of what I alluded to off the top. It's going to have to come from your draft classes. How have you drafted the past 3 years, and how are those guys going to ascend? And so for the Packers, it's, the guys I mentioned. For the Bears, it's Caleb Williams, it's Rome Odunze, it's Luther Burden, it's Austin Booker on the defensive side of the ball. For the Lions, it's, the rookie right tackle you just drafted, Blake Miller. It's, just getting that defense back healthy. And for the Vikings, it's, basically Kyler Murray and the offensive line getting back to speed. So it's really going to come down to how well have you drafted, and are those guys ready to take the next step? Because it is, like I said, still an incredibly competitive division. Trying to figure out who rises to the top of this is probably more difficult than any division in the NFL.
So I wanted to ask you about the offensive line, because they've had some change. Rasheed Walker out. You've got now Jordan Morgan in, and this is Jordan Morgan's big opportunity. Banks last year did not have a good season. He's trying to redeem himself. Obviously, Sean Ryan gets the contract, and he's kind of your center, but they picked up Jagger Burton, and he's turning heads like crazy, and everybody seems to feel that he's going to put pressure to start. Anthony Belton in his second season, and then obviously getting Zach Tom back. To me, the entire season hinges on this offensive line. If indeed they hit on everybody, it's going to be great. If they didn't, there's injury problems. I don't know if they have the depth to cover. Give me your thoughts there.
I agree. I think Jordan Morgan, I actually feel probably more confident than him than any of the three interior spots. The boy he played towards the end of last season, and it wasn't left tackle, but it was right tackle, I think was the best ball of his career. I think he is a guy who's ready to step in right away, and I actually feel really good about their tackles. It really much more to me is the interior where, Aaron Banks, like you said, I don't know if there's a next step for him, because this kind of is always the guy he's been. I think it was just an overpay to begin with, who, a guy who in pass protection in San Francisco got protected a ton that they hoped would, flourish a little more in Green Bay, and just did not. So I don't know what you're getting out of him. It's going to come from, like you said, Belton and Jagger Burton are kind of the guys that are the most intriguing. Burton's played a ton of football, all at center at Kentucky. I'm very curious to see if he pushes for that center job. And then Belton, he was a left tackle in college who got flipped to right guard. You couldn't think of two more different positions along the offensive line. So what his next step looks like is going to go a long way to saying what this offensive line is going to be.
Then the NFC in general, I wanted to talk about real quick before I let you go, and that is, obviously there's still the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams seem to be getting better, and since they traded for Myles Garrett, certainly there's a lot of talk about Aaron Darnold possibly coming out of retirement. We know that out of the East, I don't know what to make of the Cowboys. I don't know what to make of the Eagles. I don't know who's going to win that division, and then obviously there's the NFC North. Give me your thoughts on the NFC in general, kind of the hierarchy.
It's tough, because if I were to rank just the best rosters in the NFL right now, I think at least the top three are all in the NFC. And that would be the Eagles, the Rams, the Seahawks. Like those, it is a murderous row. And the AFC has the quarterbacks, but the NFC has more top to bottom talent in terms of how good these rosters are. So, there's going to be very good teams, kind of like last year, who don't even make the playoffs in the NFC, like the Lions were after all their injuries struck. So, unfortunately, I can't really make heads or tails of it. It's going to be difficult to get through the Rams, though. I mean, the moves they made this offseason to be on the precipice, probably the second best team in the NFL last year, to add the best pass rush in the NFL to that mix, and to add a all-pro cornerback to that mix should be nothing short of transformative for a defense that was already very good. So I think it rolls through the Rams right now until, God forbid, injury strikes. That's really the only thing that could take them off the top spot right now for me, is injuries hitting that team. You got some old key players there in Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford. But if they stay healthy, that is the team to beat.
Real quick before I let you go, I wanted to ask you, I want to go back to the Bears. The Bears last year won a lot of games and come from behind fashion, and they won a lot of games because they just created a massive amount of turnovers. Caleb Williams certainly is clutch, but in the pocket he was not that great. Do you think that they because they get that schedule now, that's that first place schedule, do you think they take a pretty big sizable step back, or is this team who we believe for real?
I think they do, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. I just find it very difficult to believe they'll be able to keep those turnovers coming. Just because historically it's unlikely, and a lot of the guys who create those turnovers aren't even there anymore. Like, they replaced a lot of their secondary that did that. So their pass rush still looks lackluster. They didn't add anything to it this offseason. They were bottom 5 in pressure rate a year ago. So I don't see that necessarily changing. Offensively, though, I mean, it's Ben Johnson. They have incredible talent at receiver. Offensive line should be solid still like that. Offensively, they'll put points on the scoreboard. I tend to agree, though, that their record more likely than not takes a step back just because the schedule, because the defense will still be a problem. And I do think Caleb Williams' accuracy issues, I find it hard to believe they'll get fixed enough for them to all of a sudden be, a world beater offensively, like, the 2011 Packers, where you don't need a defense, where you can just get by week in and week out and still win 15 games. I don't see that necessarily happening with Chicago.
Mike, great stuff as always, man. I appreciate it. And we'll talk again real soon, specifically as the camps get underway, okay?
For sure, Bill. For sure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, bud. There you go. Mike Renner from CBS Sports. He is CBS draft analyst, joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline, on the Schneider Orange hotline. Schneider brings you all of our guests on the Schneider Orange hotline, as a matter of fact. Not only do they bring you the guests, they bring you the drivers, and they bring them to you safely. That's what they teach there. And if you want to learn how to drive, they have an apprenticeship program that is second to none, and they can have a gig waiting for you by the time you're all done. They also need diesel mechanics and such as well. So if you're looking to become part of the Schneider team in any way, go to SchneiderJobs.com. That is SchneiderJobs.com, or call them 844-PRIDE. Get a hold of a recruiter. That is 844-PRIDE. It is a banner day, and unfortunately, it's about to come to an end. But it has been so much fun today. It has been just an absolute blast. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a break. Stay tuned. Final segment of the show for the day coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. What a day. Hopefully today's a day that you enjoyed. This was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun to do today. Hang out here at the Tiki Bar. We didn't grill today. Again, I wasn't hungry. So, kind of yogurt this morning. It kind of filled me up protein-wise. But beyond that, margarita's been fantastic, and the cigar is awesome. But just wasn't hungry today. So I didn't grill. But it doesn't mean we can't do it again at some point. Today was a fun day. Obviously, got Brewers baseball coming up this weekend. Just get out and enjoy the weather. Go do what you do. The big news of the day is that the Bucks and Rincon Communications, along with My24 TV in Milwaukee and other affiliates throughout the state, are going to carry all of the Milwaukee Bucks games this year free and over the air. We were talking about this a little bit off the air yesterday with Jim Ozarski. Like, where are they going to go? Because there's only so much money to be had in the state of Wisconsin. But the Bucks, now without Giannis and without FanDuel, they didn't have a home. So how are people going to watch the Milwaukee Bucks? And then today the announcement comes that My24 TV in Milwaukee, along with other statewide affiliates in partnership with Rincon Broadcasting Group, will now air all of the 2026-27 games over the air for the Milwaukee Bucks upcoming season. So that's good news for people that just want to, just check it out on their regular television stations. So that's it. Anything else today, Grant? I mean, we only got about 30 seconds left, but anything else today?
The Brewers added Bryce Wilson to the roster, I suppose. Sent down Easton McGee and Drew Rom. We hardly knew ye, so I guess that's the transaction. We knew Bryce Wilson was coming back. And Bryce Wilson mostly stinks, but I think I still trust him more than those other two guys. So I like the move as much as you can like such a move.
Yep. I like it because his best year was with the Brewers. So maybe they're trying to recapture just a little bit of that to see how things go. So that's going to do it. Unless, Grant, you and I talk over the weekend. If you come into town, if Ebo and Jen and Kate and them, I know Zach can. He's got something going on. But if you guys come into town, the house is open. It's just me this weekend. So Kristen's at home.
I think Ebo and Jen may make a move. I don't know what Kate's up to. I'm going up towards Duluth for the weekend.
I thought you were traveling. Yeah.
So Lake Superior. So another time.
Yep. So good stuff. And thank you for all the comments on the shirt today, too. The Topps Bazooka Joe Bubblegum Topps baseball card shirt today. And I got two more retros coming in. I got a Major League shirt and I got an old Hickory shirt for Jimmy Chitwood. That was the other two that I ordered. I couldn't think of what I ordered, but that's what came in today, too. All right, until we talk again on Monday, hopefully it's a very successful weekend for the Brewers. Get at least 2 out of 3.